My mother-in-law kept booking a vacation with us without our knowledge.
Well, she just really, really loves you and wants to spend so much time with you at all times, always.
My mother-in-law is extremely family-oriented and lives alone after being widowed about 10 years ago. I'm married to her eldest son, and we have a baby. Her other son is also married with a toddler. Before we all had kids, she used to book us family vacations for all of us using a timeshare system she has without asking us if we wanted to go, or even checking if the dates worked for us. This would often involve driving 3+ hours to a town that doesn't have anything we want to see or do. And by the way, this comes from user TokenYeti658. If you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Dakota.
And I'm Savannah.
And we're here to yap about this here story, maybe give a little advice. We don't have all the answers, though. We only know what we would do, so let us know what you would do down there in the comments. And OP says, she's also done this with theater tickets, sports tickets, etc. in her city, which is 5 hours away from us. We make the drive at least every 2 to 3 months and stay with her at her house for several days each time. So it's not like this is the only way she'll ever see us. We mentioned multiple times, subtly, that she needs to check with us before booking things. Maybe let's make that not so subtle.
Yeah, I feel like that's a big deal. Like, oh, actually, I have something planned this week. Can't do those dates. You know, I'm sure she's doing it like in advance, hopefully. But even so, like, you gotta check with me. I don't know.
Yeah, we should be making that the most obvious point. We should be saying, you absolutely need to make sure the dates work for the people you're booking the dates for. Okay? Say it just like that. Repeat after me. I will check with my children.
Blah, 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 blah.
Close enough. I thought she got the memo until this Christmas when she gifted us all a week-long vacation together in a ski town in May to celebrate a significant work anniversary for her. It is a 6-hour drive for us, and it's closer for her and my brother-in-law and sister-in-law, and I simply don't want to go. She said she chose that date specifically because it's before I return to work following my maternity leave. But being on maternity leave doesn't necessarily mean I'm available, and it definitely doesn't mean I want to incur the expense of food and gas, etc. on this gift. If she had asked us before booking it and presented it as something she wanted to do to celebrate this milestone for her and her career, I would have sucked it up, since I understand family time is very important to her, and she doesn't have a spouse to celebrate this work anniversary with. However, I find the way she went about it infantilizing, and ultimately kind of manipulative. My brother-in-law and sister-in-law are also not thrilled. Neither of them are even certain they can get the time off, but my husband and brother-in-law seem determined to try to make it work without acknowledging the way she did it is not okay. I told my husband we can either have a talk with her to tell her in no uncertain terms that she needs to stop spending money and making reservations without checking with us first, or I will not be going on this vacation, and neither will her exclusively breastfed grandchild. Am I overreacting here? And we do have some comments. But Savannah,
What?
what is your thoughts? What are your thoughts? Maybe you have more than one.
I have just one. And I think that Grandma just doesn't know. You just gotta tell her. Or I guess she's not Grandma, she's mother-in-law. Mother-in-law, you just gotta tell her. You can't be subtle about it. People don't, especially like older people, don't get subtleties. You have to like directly explain. Just be like, hey, listen, I know that you are trying to do a nice thing for everyone. You want everyone to be there for you and all this stuff. But you also have to understand that we have lives and you need to check with me whether or not these dates work. Like, what if I had something planned that week? Then what? Then I have to miss my thing and all this stuff. I understand that you're trying to plan it around stuff that you already know, but you don't know everything that I have. So if you could just check with me before making these reservations, I would greatly appreciate it. And also, I feel like, you know, she's saying how these are all like a bunch of drives, whatever. Can't you just like book a plane ticket?
I don't know. It's hard. It's probably hard traveling with a brand new baby.
I mean, yes, I
They
get
just
that.
had a baby. It's not easy to travel with the baby.
I mean, I think
I can't imagine it would be easy to bring the baby on the mountain either. But it would be cute. But it's also May. So, I don't know. It's really just all of that is like weird. Ski resort in May, new baby, right before I go back to work.
Is mother-in-law going skiing? I don't know how old she is, but that'd be pretty impressive.
You can be so old and go ski.
Oh my! I feel like it's a lot on your body.
That was a lot on my body. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Holy
Please.
shit.
That was really bad.
That's all I have to say. That's my one thought.
All right. We've got some comments. Comment 1 says, "You're being subtle. Why?" OP says, "Because my husband is afraid of hurting her feelings and isn't willing to stand up to her." Boo. She's just a lady. She's not that scary. She's simply a lady.
Ladies are pretty scary sometimes. I got teeth and nails. Okay. Maybe not nails. Claws.
Comment 2. "Not overreacting, but let your husband go with the baby by himself. Win-win. He gets to please his mother and you get to stay home. Well, the baby can't breastfeed with the father. Okay?
That is true. Boys don't do that.
You can do your final recharging and prep before returning to work, as the last few months with a baby must have been exhausting. Not overreacting, not even a little bit. Those shenanigans would do my head in. Plus, your postpartum? Heck no." OP says, "I like this idea. However, my baby is exclusively breastfed. Unfortunately, your idea would probably truly delight my mother-in-law to have the opportunity to play house with my baby and husband without me there." Commenter 3 says, "You are overreacting because all of you have been enabling mother-in-law's behavior for years. What's different this time? You said you would have said yes if she had asked, but since she didn't ask, your answer is no? Sorry, but that doesn't make any sense at all. It sounds like your plan is to tell her to stop making reservations, while at the same time, you're all going on this trip even though no one really wants to. I'm curious why no one in this family can tell mom no, because her behavior is ridiculous. What is everyone afraid of? Is she a wealthy widow whose boys are afraid of getting cut out of the will if they cross her?" OP says, "No, definitely not any financial incentive. It's more so that she revolves her entire life around her kids and is an extremely emotional and sentimental person. Since her husband passed, who would have told her her behavior is ridiculous, her sons feel too guilty to reel her in." OP explains more about not liking spending time with her mother-in-law. OP explains, "It's not that I don't like spending time with her. I spend quite a bit of time with her, more than I do with either of my own parents put together. Things like this make me like spending time with her less because it makes me feel like I don't get a choice in the matter. By suck it up, I meant the inconvenience of traveling 6 hours to get to a ski town off-season that I have no interest in, with a screaming baby in the car, plus making arrangements for a dog sitter, planning meals while away, or paying for restaurants, etc. It's all the hassle of going away without the incentive of it being a place I want to be." A downvoted commenter says, "You must not like skiing."
Got him.
OP says, "It's May in Canada. There will be no skiing. Also, I have a baby who obviously can't ski." Well, not with that attitude.
Put that baby on the ice.
You gotta put that baby out on the snow. Put that baby on a pair of French fries. Put that baby, get 2 trays from the cafeteria, glue it to your baby's feet, and send him on down the hill.
Baby's first ski.
See what that baby's made of.
Really test his limits.
Is it easy for mother-in-law to take time off work? Yes, says OP. She has lots of vacation time saved up and takes vacations whenever my husband and I happen to be in town. She's so eager to use her vacation time on her family, she doesn't consider that we may all have other priorities for our vacation, including making time to see my family as well, and traveling places we actually want to go. How does mother-in-law get away with this? Okay, I think we're being a little crazy. How does mother-in-law get away with buying vacations for other people? Like, it's not like she's doing the worst thing ever.
You don't know what she does.
So far, all I'm seeing is it's like, yeah, when she surprises us with a vacation, she doesn't plan it with us, which is like, well, yeah, let's just not make the vacation surprises. And also, she just lost a husband.
I just don't understand why you can't sit down and have the conversation. Like, she's complaining, but she's not doing anything about it.
Yeah, that commenter we read earlier where it was like, yeah, you're like, I would go if she asked, but now that because she didn't ask, I won't go. because, well, maybe I wouldn't have been available. It's like, I don't know.
Have a conversation. Just talk about it. Just be like, hey, this is what's been happening. And I know no one's been saying anything because we just don't want to upset you. But like, this is how things work. This is how you plan vacations. Just in case you forgot, you got to make sure everyone's available and you got to make sure we all want to go. End of story.
I mean, how much notice did we have?
Well,
how far away from May are we right now?
Well, they gave her, it was a Christmas gift. So
So you got 5 months to plan this.
yeah.
I think that's more than enough time. Anyway, OP says, I agree. It's somewhat impressive how her 2 sons will simply go along with what she wants, even at great inconvenience to themselves and their wives. This would never fly in my own family with my siblings and parents. OP explains about her maternity leave in her area. Actually, I'm in Canada, so my maternity leave is 12 months. Trip is scheduled for 11 months into it. Baby has been here for a while, but you're on the nose for sure. We did a 9-week NICU stay. There's an update from 3 days later. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. After the trip was initially presented by my mother-in-law to crickets and souring the mood before we all opened our gifts to one another, I let the matter settle for a few days and then calmly explained to my husband that I will not be attending the trip. My original post said I would have sucked it up and went if mother-in-law had asked us first, but after really thinking about it, I know that I would have definitely pushed for different dates, a different location, and shorter duration if we had really been consulted. I said I'm more than happy to explain to mother-in-law that I have a limited capacity to go away and visit family, and we put a lot of thought into how we go about these visits since I also have siblings, parents, and grandparents that live far away. Not to mention that we need to leave some time to spend with our own family of 3. I don't appreciate having these decisions taken away from us. He didn't try to convince me, but he was clearly very disappointed and believes I should go. When I told him my maternity leave is precious time to me and not anyone else's to determine how I will spend it, he said that doesn't make any sense since the baby will be there too. Somehow he doesn't understand why this is different from another trip planned long ago with my coordination to visit my own family at a location and on dates we agreed to. He then called his brother, who was upfront about the fact that he and my sister-in-law aren't eager to go either, and they all agreed that brother-in-law will break the news that none of us are going. Sadly, my husband is a lot more sympathetic to my brother-in-law wanting to spend his limited vacation time on a trip with his child and wife than he was to my own explanation. My husband is also insisting we all think of an alternative weekend getaway we can pitch to celebrate my mother-in-law's work anniversary with her to soften the blow that we won't be going. You read that right. He's trying to come up with an alternative to the Christmas gift she gave us to celebrate her. And by the way, you can celebrate right now because you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this on your favorite podcast platforms like iHeartRadio, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. All you have to do is search OK Storytime. And there is a little bit more story left here, but man, I really just feel like you don't like his mom at all.
Yeah, and I feel like there's something underlying that is not being explained here, but it does seem like OP's just like, yeah, I just really don't want to go. I have no intention of going, and she always does this, and, you know, she never thinks about this, she only thinks about that, and all this stuff, and it's like, have a conversation with her, and she's still avoiding the conversation, OP. Yeah. You're still saying, like, I'm not going to tell her, you guys have to tell her, and it's like, you're the one coming up with all of this. I know everyone's kind of agreeing, but you're the one taking the initiative. I think you need to just like be like, hey, suck it up and be like, listen, this is what we're thinking. You know, sorry, but you know, it's just we've all been talking and these things just aren't working out, but we're willing to like do it in a different way on a different date, you know? Like it's not going to like break her heart to where she's like, "Oh my gosh, oh no, I'm in cardiac arrest" or something. Like I feel like it would just be like, you know, she'd be like, oh, like, yeah, she'd be disappointed. But giving her an alternative, be like, okay, yeah, if you guys couldn't do it, that's fine. We'll do something else. You know, I don't know. I just feel like they're making it such a big deal, but then no one's saying anything. It's like, just tell her. Like, she doesn't know. She thinks that all of you want to go. Nobody's telling her, no, we don't like this. So she obviously thinks, oh, well, no one's saying they don't want to go, so I'm just going to keep doing it. And now, after years of doing this, all of a sudden, you know, It's going to be like, yeah, we never wanted to do this. That's going to break her heart. So you waited too long.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you've got months and months away from this, you can probably get a refund on most of it.
Oh,
and
for
it's
sure.
like,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, going to a ski slope off season is not necessarily the most fun thing ever, but it can be really nice. It just depends. Like, there's a lot of places in Colorado that once it's off season and it's like the spring and summer months, they open up as like, big like hiking trail spots and like, mountain biking spots, and just, the lifts will still run, but it's like they're just scenic. Like, it could be nice. I don't see it as like this whole like, I mean, sure, it's a 6-hour drive that could be stressful, but like, I don't know. I've seen a lot of babies sleeping in cars. Babies sleep in cars a lot, from what I
also
see.
sleep in cars.
Yeah, see? So does Keon. Keon immediately will fall asleep in a car, like a little baby boy. But if you guys are just open to changing it, be like, we want to celebrate you. We want to also just do something we all want to do.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's as easy as that. You don't have to be like, we hate all these things that you've done for us, and you never talk to us about it. And it's
thoughtful. She's like, she even scheduled it like at the end of your maternity leave, because she's like, you spend all the time with the baby, and then you can do this thing, which is a little older, you get a little more practice, but you're feeling like, oh, it's too close to when I'm going back to work, so maybe we push that up a little bit. Like, I don't know, but yeah, you guys can figure it out.
It's just literally communication. Just tell her. Like, she doesn't know, so she's going to keep doing it. And if you keep subtly telling her, she's still not going to get it. You just have to be upfront and just be like, listen, we can't keep doing this, but we will do this if we all are involved in the planning. And maybe she's also feeling like, well, I always plan things, blah, blah, blah. Like, you don't know because you're not communicating. So literally just communicate.
Yeah. I think the weird feeling I have, I just don't know how to, it's like, we haven't really heard any other really like problematic behavior from the mother-in-law, other than it's like, yeah, my husband's mother-in-law is annoying. She wants to spend time with her children and is a grieving widow. Like, I'm annoyed that my husband is catering to her. It's like, I don't even know if that's really what's going on, like, that's what you do sometimes.
Maybe OP's kind of like jealous that, like she can get everyone together or something, or that, everyone drops what they're doing for her or for mother-in-law, and so maybe she's just like, oh, I don't understand, meh, meh, meh. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It feels strange a little bit. There's got to be more. Anyway, let's finish the story. I know commenters are correct that I have a husband problem, but there's only so much I can do. He's overall a wonderful man, and there are worse things than a mother-in-law who schemes to spend time with her sons, and a husband who doesn't understand why I don't want to spend every possible moment with his family, and ultimately tries very hard to protect his mom's feelings at the expense of my peace.
So husband chooses his mom over his wife. That's why she's angry. Got it.
Don't you only see her like 3 or 4 times a year?
Yeah. That's what they said, yeah.
So how is that in any way possible?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe like he hangs up on phone calls being like, oh, sorry, my mom's calling, gotta go.
I don't know. I'm sure this isn't the last headache I'll have with them. And there are some more comments here. Comment 1 says, your marriage, your choice to continue with this. No real room to complain if you don't push back at your husband being still on the tit. What is happening?
I don't think it's the husband's fault at all.
I think what we get here, sometimes we read stories and then it's like people who have like toxic family members or something, or maybe who have cut off their own, just like project that it's like, oh, well, it's like, yeah, or like, oh, what a mama's boy. It's like, I don't think so.
I don't think
she gave them a whatever. This vacation thing is annoying. She doesn't check in for us for the dates when she buys vacations for us. That's insane, first of all, to be complaining that your in-laws buying you vacations and you're just complaining about that is kind of whack energy. Whether you like the vacations or not, she's buying them for y'all. I don't know. It's just a crazy thing to complain about.
It's just, I feel like we've gotten so far off what the original post was about, which is basically just the mother-in-law just plans these vacations without like double checking if everyone's like available or can do that or whatever. Like, that's what this is about. And now it's like, well, my husband just, he's such a mama's boy, and, like, nobody stands up to her because she's a grieving widow, and and it's like, that's just, like, has nothing to do with what you're complaining about. You're just, like, trying reasons not to blame yourself. And OP, I really think it's you.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't like the whole, like, well, I'm just not going to go on the trip.
Yeah.
I refuse to play along with this behavior of her getting away with this. And it's like, I don't know. The trip is for her to spend time with the family that she has left,
Right.
I guess, after losing her husband. It's not like she booked a trip on like, where it's like, yeah, you guys all have to buy plane tickets to Hawaii or something. Like,
yeah.
Or like we're all traveling, I mean, let's be honest, 6-hour car ride is not that far away.
Yeah.
You can make that trip 4 times in a day, literally. I mean, it would be all day, but you could make that trip 4 times.
Yeah. If you
So
want to look at it
it's-
like that, yeah.
I mean, just not that far.
But also, I could understand, like, traveling with, like, infants and
That is
toddlers
true.
and whatever. Like, that is a whole nother thing.
And I have no frame of reference for that. But it doesn't feel like the mother-in-law is doing that much wrong.
Yeah.
I don't
no.
know.
Honestly, I think it's just communication.
And
Nobody's
yeah.
communicating, and everyone's just like talking behind each other's backs and whatever, blah, blah, blah. And the mother-in-law has no idea that nobody like this. And so she just
From the
keeps
sounds
doing
of
it.
it, yeah.
And then you guys are like, oh, she's doing it again. It's like, no one's telling her not to. Just tell her. Just be like, I don't like this. She'll be like, okay. Like, how are we supposed to read your mind? I hate this.
Anyway, OP says, I am pushing back by refusing to go on the trip. I think that's the natural and reasonable consequence here. What else are you suggesting? And there is another commenter. Honestly, I think having a husband who prioritizes his mother's feelings over his wife's peace is a pretty big problem that you are underreacting to. Being married to a man who doesn't get why you don't want to spend every moment with his mommy, which again, they don't do, and they see her 3 or 4 times a year, sounds like an absolute nightmare, especially since she's manipulative and he's spineless. Not a great combination for you to live with for the rest of your life. I wish you luck. OP says you're not wrong. We've been together more than 10 years, and this is by far our biggest recurring argument. Comment 3 says, not overreacting. Have you ever told your husband that he protects his mom's feelings at the expense of your peace? OP says, yes. In his perspective, it's normal and okay for family members to be inconvenienced in order to protect someone's feelings. Isn't that true, though? Like, it's not like every relationship and loving, relationship you have is going to be convenient at all times.
Exactly. I was thinking the same thing. Like, it's just,
It's not. It can't be. There's going to be times where you're like, wow, it's really inconvenient, but I have to think of this person's feelings right now in front of my own desires.
yeah.
That happens.
And
That
that's life.
does happen. It's not like that can't ever happen. I don't know. It's weird.
It's like, it's inconveniencing me. All of this is inconveniencing me and my marriage and my feelings.
And it's like, should it happen forever? Like, no. Should it happen all the time? Like, no.
But it happens like maybe 2-3 times a year. She's like, oh, this again.
Yeah,
No.
if this was like she's buying a vacation and then she's like, it's a week away, and if you don't go, I'm throwing myself off of a bridge. Like,
yeah.
okay, now we're in serious, like, dude, this is insane waters that we're swimming in, and this needs to change. You can't be like emotionally traumatizing us because we don't want to go on a vacation we have a week's notice to prepare for. That's not what's happening.
Yeah, no, I feel like she's being accommodating. She's just not asking for dates, which she should. You think that that's like common sense and whatnot, but maybe she's just like, well, I tried to work around everyone's schedules and this seemed like it would work for everyone. I took in mind your maternity leave and I took in mind, like this person's schedule, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And so we're going on these dates, like it's not like she's just blatantly just being like, here's the dates and we're going. I don't care about anything. Everyone has to drop what they're doing and go. It just doesn't seem like it's that big of a deal.
It really doesn't. Anyway, OP on her mother-in-law wanting to celebrate her work anniversary with the family instead of her employment. OP says this is exactly it. She feels unacknowledged at work and wants to celebrate this milestone. Weird, but nothing wrong with celebrating it as long as you aren't forcing other people to participate. There's not even a place to acknowledge that if you can't understand why she'd want to be like, yay, my life's going good. Let me celebrate with my sons.
Seems like a normal request and a normal thing that people want to do,
Yeah.
especially since, you know, her husband has passed. She very much wants to be in her family's lives. That makes sense. So why are you making, you're making it such a big deal? She just wants to spend time with her family, you know, because she realized now that life is short and and now she's like, I really want to spend time with my family. Sorry.
Anyway, fourth commenter says, so your husband is the eldest son, yet his brother is the one that has to make the phone call to mom. Yeah, your husband needs to grow a spine already. OP says, since he's the eldest, he took on the caretaker role for his mother, while the younger brother is still her baby. OP clarifies the maternity leave and her baby's current age. If the math is confusing you, long story short, but we also had 2 months medical leave after the baby was born, extremely premature, so baby will actually be 14 plus months at the end of my 12-month maternity leave. What happens when OP talks with her husband about her feelings and thoughts? OP says he gets defensive and disagrees and tells me I'm being selfish for not wanting to go when his mom is all by herself and wants to celebrate this career milestone with her family. He tells me my family can also be annoying, of course, every family can be, and reminds me they won't be around forever and we want our child to have a relationship with grandparents, etc., etc., etc. And that is the end of that story. Yeah, he makes every valid point that you could
I would
make.
agree with husband.
Yeah, I agree with him. I think you're being petty.
I agree.
I don't know. There's something in your own family that is probably made you this way, but I didn't see anything in what you wrote about your mother-in-law's behavior that would warrant this, I don't know, like, I'm making my stand now. If you would have just emphasized more like, yeah, I'm going to have a whole baby. I don't know if I'm going to be able or down to do this. I don't know if I'm going to be down to drive 6 hours with my baby in the car to go to this place. And I don't know. I have no idea. But it wasn't really that. It was more like, how dare she?
Yeah.
How dare she do this? This selfish woman who was hoarding her sons to herself. God forbid she wants to, I don't know, celebrate an accomplishment in her life with the only family she has left.
Literally, God forbid.
Yeah. Well, if God doesn't, I will, because I'm not going. I'm not on your train, bro. I'm not on it.
I'm not either. OP, I think you're just very petty and just, you know, if you don't want to do it, then say something. That's all. Say something. Stop hiding behind your husband. You know, you don't want to be the bad guy and I'm on maternity leave, blah, blah. I don't feel bad for you, OP. I don't. So I think that you need to stand up to your mother-in-law because hiding behind everyone isn't helping and isn't doing anything. And subtly mentioning it isn't working either.
Yeah.
So just say what you mean.
Needs to be explicitly mentioned.
Yeah.
And, you know, you should be like, hey, don't know if this time's going to work out. We do want to celebrate you, though, with you. Let's find a place maybe that's more in the middle for everyone so we don't have to drive so much. Maybe we'll find a place, you know. It makes sense when you say you've done this only subtly that she's going to keep doing it. Because it's like if you plan a surprise trip for someone, you're not going to tell them what it is because it's a surprise. It's a gift. So you need to make it very clear. Stop surprising us with this. We need the dates and it's okay. We can pretend like we're surprised. Okay. But work with us.
It just comes down to clear communication and there is none.
Yeah. And that is the end of that story. We've got another one coming right up. Bow. Here it comes. Pachow. My sister thinks I stole my nephew's medications. Now I want to keep my distance.
So that she doesn't find them.
Guilty. I, 33 female, am normally very close with my siblings, nieces, and nephews. We used to do everything together when the vid wasn't a thing. If someone needed help, I was there for them. By the way, this comes from user Shooty Main and Grand Truck 3891. Ooh, we've got two perspectives. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. And we're here to give good advice, goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we do, so tell us what you do in the comments, okay? And OP says, with that being said, my niece, 13, was starting high school and had to start taking the bus. I thought it was important for her to have a cell phone just in case, especially with her commuting to the city. I am by no means rich, but I got her a phone and added her to my plan. About 6 months ago, one of my sisters, 39, and her kids, including the niece, stopped talking to me altogether. I have an idea as to what I may have done, very long story, but I can't be sure because they aren't talking to me. I've attempted to reach out several times, but eventually gave up. With the pandemic, none of my nieces or nephews are in school. They're all online. Because my niece is no longer taking a bus to school every day, I'm considering having the phone disconnected. I feel terrible doing it because she's only 13, but she uses it every day and can't be bothered to talk to me. Not sure how to handle this one. Am I the a-hole? Feel free to ask for clarification if needed. And we have some comments. I don't think you would be. I think optically, it might look like it's like, well, you're not talking to me, so I'm just going to turn your phone off.
That's it.
But it's more like, well, I got you this phone to make sure you'd be okay
Communicated,
being on the
yeah.
bus and going to the city. So now that you're not doing that, I guess you don't need the phone. And also, you hate me. I think it's reasonable.
I think you could have another conversation, though.
Yeah, you can let them know, like, hey,
Yeah, this is what's going on.
this is my plan, but we have some comments. Comment 1 asking for info. Why did they stop talking to you? That's pretty important information. Like OP said, if you read the post, they won't tell him. Comment 2, your sister should have taken over the payments when she cut you out of her life, not the a-hole. Comment 3, not the a-hole. The reason you got her the phone is no longer required, and your niece didn't need to cut off contact with you. She has a phone, so she could text you. Editor's note, the niece in the original post is now 17. To avoid the confusion of the niece 14, who OP is talking about in the next post. The body for the post was saved before it got removed. Okay, so there's an update from 4
And
years
there's
later.
another niece.
So the niece that was being talked about in this story is the 17-year-old niece.
Yes,
And in the update, there's another niece.
indeed.
Nice. Or should I say niece?
Or knees.
Niece-I?
Neat.
Nieces.
Nord.
Yeah, I got a pair of nieces.
Got two
My
knees.
left knees and my right knees. But
Put this guy in the last story,
Oh, God.
because that was a bad joke.
I really need some advice here. I hardly ever post, but names, ages, and genders are always a little different, so no one can identify me. Apologies for the formatting. Every 2 to 3 years since 2016, I, 39 female, have taken my sister, 42, and her kids, 14 female, 17 female, 22 male, on vacation to Universal Studios, Florida. My nephew is on the spectrum and has a number of different issues, including ADHD, which he is on meds for. This is relevant later. Around the time that we started going on these family vacations that I've paid for, my sister graduated with her BA in social work. Since graduating, her personality started to change, and people, friends and family, started noticing. But no one ever said anything. It was just weird. Over the last 2 years or so, she's made new friends around her age that she's grown very close to. During the same time, her behavior has gotten progressively worse to the point where she thinks she's always right and won't listen to reason or logic.
She's in that
Classic
phase.
teen.
Yeah.
This is not a teen. This is her sister.
Classic older sister.
Classic 42-year-old sister with a bachelor's
Classic 42-year-old
a-
sister behaving
with a-
like a teen.
with a BA in social work. Just a classic.
Classic.
She also says that her new friends are more her family over her own siblings and mother. My sister is my father's golden child, so she can do no wrong in her eyes. I don't think her friends like me very much, but I couldn't care less about them. It's important to note here, per the timeline, that my nephew wanted to decrease his medication doses and was able to do so with his doctor's approval. He tried to throw them away, but I had suggested that he walk them down to the local pharmacy and dispose of them in their medication disposal bin. He asked me to do it, and without thinking, I agreed. I seriously thought nothing of it and didn't realize it would come back to bite me.
Well, in normal circumstances, I don't think it would come back to bite you, because you could have just explained that if you were talking to reasonable people
Yeah, I mean, like, they're just gonna accuse you of stealing the medication.
and putting them in the disposal bin.
Why don't you go back and do some more social work?
Why don't you
Some
just
work on your
go
social
back
work.
and do some work on yourself?
Back to my sister. Things got really bad between us in March. She said she needed to talk to me, but wouldn't say about what, and I had no idea.
I really need to tell you something.
Okay, tell me.
I can't tell you though.
No.
I can't tell you.
Okay.
It's a secret, but I really want to tell you.
She came to my house and accused me of stealing my nephew's meds. I laughed and told her she was crazy. Her logic was that I lost too much weight. I was almost 300 pounds and I lost 90 over the last 2 years with diet and exercise. Literally kept a food diary and recorded my workouts. I tried to reason with her and explain that the weight loss was happening over a period of time way before my nephew started to decrease his dosages, but she wasn't having any of it and said she's not a effing red. What does that even mean? You're not a red coat?
Oh, I
Is
was
this
thinking
British?
she's a communist.
Oh, I'm
Not
not.
a commie.
I'm not a
At
communist.
the end of the day, they're the same.
She then started making demands, demanded that I hand the medication over and open a little tiny money safe that I have. She also started name calling and proceeded to go through my personal belongings. She then asked me where my other safe was, and this confused me because I don't own another safe. I told her to leave or I was calling the cops, which I did a minute later. Cops told her to leave, and I was left in disbelief. She is now trying to turn her kids against me. Her 17-year-old did believe the lies being spread, but claimed she came to her senses and her mom was wrong to do what she did. She'll be 18 by the time we go in December on our vacation, but I suspect my younger niece will not be allowed to go. My sister was very adamant that she doesn't want anyone, including the 14-year-old, to know what happened. What happened? Nothing I
Literally nothing
disposed
happened.
the medication.
Yeah.
What happened?
Get that nephew in here and say, hey, tell your mom.
Or does she not want anyone to know that she was removed from your home by the police?
Yeah, maybe that's it.
I tried to text my sister to ask, but she said she needs to talk to me. I refuse to speak to anyone who believes I took my nephew's meds. I think I touched on the relevant points, but I'm happy to provide more info if necessary. Would I be the a-hole if I was honest with my niece when she asks why she can't go to Universal? And there are some comments here. But the answer is that your mom's crazy and she thinks that I stole your medication and the cops removed her from my house. And now that's your problem.
Yeah, you could just give it to her straight.
Yeah, do we try and hide the situation? Do we you know what? Just things didn't work out.
I don't know how much you can hide it, though.
Do we try and protect the kids from it? Do we tell her the full truth? Do we tell her the half truth? Do we tell her a full on lie? Do you throw yourself under the bus even though there's no reason to do that? What do we do?
You could tell a 14-year-old hey, your mom's got made up beef with me.
I would, maybe the best way is how about you ask your mom?
That, or you could just be your mom believes that I took something.
Your mom and I got in an argument.
Yeah, mom and I got in an argument.
Or a disagreement.
Yeah, your mom's a little dum-dum who thinks I took your brother's meds to lose weight even though I've lost 90 pounds over 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think your mom hates me. We've got comments. Why was she freaking the F out about meds? Was she also taking them?
Ooh, I think it's an important thing to note of is this a big departure from how she normally acts, or is this kind of something pretty run-of-the-mill standard for her?
It sounds like she's always been a little difficult.
Yeah, because I feel like if she were on substances, it probably, I don't know, it might be more of a departure from what she's really like.
Maybe. The commenter continues, her reaction was way too over the top for this situation. Do you mean that your sister doesn't want anyone to know about her freak out, even though she was spreading lies about you? Something there doesn't make sense. OP replies, I agree. Her reaction was way over the top. Yes, she texted me later that day saying she didn't want anyone in the family knowing about what she did, especially her daughter. I did not respond. And there is another comment. Standing on the outside, my personal opinion is your sister probably started taking her son's meds when her personality did a 180, especially if everyone, friends and family, noticed all of these changes and how she was treating them. Well, I mean, that could be, but it could also easily be she went to school and she got this degree and now she thinks that she's surrounded herself with an echo chamber of people who just think exactly like her.
Yeah,
That can happen.
I feel like when you're around a subject or when you're around a certain type of person a lot, it does influence how you react to in different situations.
Yeah.
So it could be possible that she was taking that medication, but it also is just possible that she's been influenced by other outside sources.
Maybe your nephew knew something was going on, which is why he wanted you to throw them away for him. Otherwise, why wouldn't he have just asked his mom to dispose of them? Even more so if she had asked you not to tell anyone about the argument and the fight. That sounds like someone trying to cover up a story so others won't ask the real question of why she got so upset over medication being tossed. Shakespeare said it best. Get those monkeys off those typewriters. I'm going to be out of a job. No, that's not what he said.
Maybe he did.
Dakota's a little joke thief.
She made she made a Shakespeare monkey typewriter joke yesterday, acting like that joke hasn't been made a trillion times.
You know who could not stop laughing? Dakota's girlfriend. Now he's jealous of my Shakespeare typewriter joke.
It was a good joke.
I'll loan it to you.
Shakespeare said it best.
Get those monkeys off.
Get everyone named Sophia and put them in jail.
Shakespeare said that?
Ooh, Shakespeare knew me?
Shakespeare knew me? Wow.
Okay, for real, Shakespeare said it best. The lady doth protest too much, methinks. Shakespeare hates women confirmed? Wow.
Is Shakespeare a woman?
Shakespeare literally won't hear a word a woman says.
Will we?
We gotta do something about this guy. Can we cancel him on Twitter? Maybe she's projecting her guilt onto you to keep from being found out. OP says, I thought about this the other day. I truly believe that her new friends are into things, but I have no proof. Oh. Her change in attitude was so embarrassing, too. She started to act like, and please try to stay with me on this, insert high-pitched little girl voice here, I'm such a big, bad booty witch and no one will go against me type of ways.
Go higher. Higher.
Hopefully, you were able to follow along. OP needs to tell her relatives before Sheila, painted a different picture of what happened. I guess that's probably the sister. Sheila.
Hi, Sheila.
I called a relative as it was happening and had my dog cam turned on to capture what was being said. I told a few friends and family members what happened, and they're all on my side. Comment 3. I think you have a right and duty to yourself to tell your niece the truth and attempt to clear your name. Where was your nephew in all this? Did he speak up? OP says he did. He tried to defend me, and she told him he was a effing R slur, and if he didn't see it. He's been really upset because he feels like he has to choose between his mother and myself.
It's not really much of a choice. She just like slurred you out.
Slurring your child. Folks, don't slur your children.
Don't do that.
I assured him I wasn't mad at him, as I have no reason to be. I think his mother said something, but I can't prove it. Comment 4. Why would you take any of them anywhere? Stay away from her. You literally had to call the police on her, and now you're going to take her and her children on vacation? Step back, OP. She's not safe to be around. What if she accuses you of something worse? You don't need to waste your time and money on this. How can you trust her? OP says, oh, no. My sister is never invited to go anywhere with me ever again, but I would still like to take my niece and nephew. Comment 5, why doesn't she ask her son where the meds went?
Well, clearly she's not going to listen to him either way, so it doesn't really matter.
OP says she did. He told her the truth. I told him to walk them to the local pharmacy and dispose of them there. He told her he asked me to do it. We didn't think anything of it at the time. Her freaking out came out of nowhere. Comment 6, so your sister wildly misbehaves and wants to be sure her kids don't know about it. She showed up to your house to accuse you of stealing her son's medication to lose weight, then frantically starts rooting through your things and has to be removed by police? No wonder she doesn't want her kids to know. She's spiraling. Is your sister jealous of your weight loss? Maybe your job? Is she upset her son is trying to do things on his own and came to you? There's stuff going on here. I agree.
I also agree.
There's stuff happening.
Things are happening, and none of them are good.
OP said, it's like you know me. I don't like to assume things, but I started wondering that myself. Every time I do something, she does it shortly after. For example, weight loss, new job, promotion, new car. And she has verbalized to my nephew that she didn't want him getting close to me because I would ruin their relationship.
Just feels like she's trying to isolate her kids from anyone else who loves them in their
From the
life.
cool sister.
Yeah, she's like, well, my sister's so much cooler than me, so I gotta get rid of her.
This caught me off guard, and she brought this up after getting her new group of friends. Comment 7. As others have said, I would just tell her that her mother doesn't want you to discuss the issue with her, but that she should ask her sister. Also, honestly, it sounds like the mom might be the one stealing the medication and trying to cover it up. If he's trying to reduce how much medication he's using normally, he would just talk to his doctor and they would lower the prescription. But the fact that that isn't happening is a little sus. I want to be surprised if your sister is taking the medication, but I guess they wouldn't be. OP says multiple people asked me if there was a chance she could have been taking them. I honestly don't know. My sister could have handled it differently, but I feel like she chose to be aggressive about it because she can do no wrong. That's her mentality.
Yeah, I mean, if she's like the father's favorite, it makes sense that she got that attitude, or where she got that attitude from.
Where you get all that attitude?
From being your father's favorite?
Attitude store? You got
a discount.
You got a discount at the attitude store for being
Family
the golden
and friends
child.
discount.
OP on the medication in question showing up in a substance test. OP says, I'm not sure. The med in question is Adderall. Either way, I would be clean. But who knows what other accusations would be thrown around at that point. And there's a second update 7.5 months later.
Did you say it like that so that it wouldn't be flagged?
Yeah, probably.
Because I feel like people are just gonna think you're pronouncing it wrong.
People are gonna think
They'd be like, oh my gosh,
I'm a good
Dakota,
little boy. I don't know what things
Dakota
are.
doesn't know what that thing is.
I need people to tell me what things are because I'm such a good little boy. He doesn't
He's
know
such
anything.
a little goofball.
I don't know nothing.
Shawnee Ope says either OP is jealous or as a substance problem. Either way, not the a-hole for OP. Agreed.
Well, yeah, I would say you're not the a-hole, and depriving your children of a trip to Universal Studios Florida,
It's pretty not cool.
that's a whack move.
Yeah.
Update. Hi, all. Not sure if this update is allowed. Oh, well, I'm sure it is because we're reading it right now. A bunch of details were changed so I could remain anonymous. I will refer to my sister as Sheila.
Sheila.
I think I posted it in here, but if anyone remembers my story from 6 to 8 months ago, Sheila, a social worker, accused me of stealing some meds, controlled substance, from my disabled nephew. It resulted in a huge fight, and I was told that I could not take my little niece, his little sister, on vacation with me. The fine people on Reddit provided some great tips on how I can deal with the situation and what to tell my niece. In the meantime, things went from bad to worse. I was questioned and told my niece and her father to direct all questions to their mother. They did, and they were both shut down and told it was none of their business. Dad was obviously mad that he wasn't getting answers and wanted to know why his daughter was being excluded. My niece's friend ended up inviting her to Universal, so that made me happy. I took my other niece and nephew on vacation. They are both over the age of 18, so their mother legally couldn't say no. We went at a completely different time than the other munchkin, so no problems there. Sheila and I met at a public location. Mickey D's was a safe bet, and one of our nieces joined in to play referee. She's also 26 years old. She wanted to be there, but so I was okay with this. Sheila grew annoyed that I had an answer for everything.
She's like, how do you have all these answers? I just asked you where you were and you had an answer for that. I asked you where you got the medication. You had an answer. It doesn't make sense.
I'm confused why all your answers aren't, yes, Sheila, you are correct. That seems wrong.
I don't get it.
She grew even more annoyed that I had some proof to back up my claims. Some of you suggested that Sheila sounded like she was the one taking something, as there was no reason for her to be that upset, and her actions weren't warranted. The family has noticed the tension, and I'm glad I spoke up, as multiple family members have offered their support. Sheila and I still aren't talking, but I got to see my little niece twice last year, with her mother being very nearby. Not her choice, as we were at a birthday party for another relative. Sheila knew I was going to be there. Sheila still believes that I have the meds and continues to try and convince her kids that I'm stealing and them.
Well, it seems like they don't believe her, so that's something.
Does she know how medication works? Like when you
No.
take it, it's you've taken it and it's gone.
No, she's like, you just keep taking, yeah, you have infinite supply in that little bottle.
Was your nephew's doctor prescribing him 500 doses of medication at a time?
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense seeing as this was a one-time thing. And also, I don't even think that the nephew is taking these pills anymore. So she wouldn't be able to continuously steal them,
Yeah.
even if she were.
So both older niece and nephew have shut this idea down and told her that she's wild. Girl, you wild AF for that. Same niece also told Sheila that it's a common med taken by thousands of college kids and that Sheila has friends who probably tried worse. Not sure if there will be another update, but wanted to give an update to anyone who remembers this. And by the way, you should always remember that you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this on your favorite podcast platforms, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen, search OK Storytime. And you can have a whole boatload of stories to spend your time listening to.
Sure can.
And there's a little bit left of this story where there's plenty of comments.
I just don't fully understand the reaction, or like the strength of Sheila's reaction, seeing as nephew is no longer on these meds, which is why he's getting rid of them. And even if she were taking them, which she's not, and we know she's not, it still seems like a pretty strong reaction.
I think what's bubbling underneath all this is good old like sibling rivalry, like, you know, because she's the older sister. She went back to school and got a degree. OP is also improving and changing their life in ways. And they're the younger sisters. So then maybe the older sisters like losing it, being like, well, I need to be ahead of you because I'm older and blah, blah, blah. And I went back to school and I got this degree, blah, blah, blah. So shut
Yeah.
up. I'm smarter than you now and I know everything, blah, blah, blah.
And she's like, I'll get it one day.
Let me be clear, all right? Not everyone who just goes and gets a degree is an intolerable, like, bag of hot air. I'm not implying that you're an annoying person if you have a degree and you have expertise in something. But like clearly that can happen to people. They get too big for their britches And maybe OP's sister's just a little too big for her britches, doesn't know how to compute it, and it
She just
comes
needs-
out as her rifling through all your belongings and accusing you of having a substance use problem.
She just needs a different size.
She needs different size britches.
Exchange her britches size.
You can go get new britches.
Yeah, we don't have to stay stuck in these tiny little britches. Get out of them.
Oh, little britches.
They're too little.
Comment 1. Why can't you hang out with your niece with dad or her siblings watching her? OP says, I can't. Sheila doesn't want me around the munchkin at all. Dad is currently in a custody battle with Sheila. How lovely. And can't give her any ammo to use against him. Comment 2. Sounds like a good reason for dad to know what's happening, to be honest. I hate to say it, but I think your sister may have a substance use issue. OP says, Dad did find out. Dad called me and started to laugh as he knows I wouldn't steal from my own nephew. He also didn't find out from me. His own attorney told him, which is another story on its own.
Wait, so dad, who is like Sheila, is golden child of dad, right? That's what we learned.
Dad of, I believe it's dad of the Munchkins. Sheila's, I suppose,
like baby daddy.
husband.
Got you. I thought we were talking about like their father who was golden. You know,
No,
who
I think
treated
that
her
was
as a golden
just
child.
the
Okay.
father. She was the golden child
Got you.
in her upbringing.
Understood.
I don't think Sheila has a substance issue. She's a social worker and on a massive power trip and has to be right. It doesn't matter if she's wrong. She's a social worker and social workers are always right. Hopefully you can detect my sarcasm.
I couldn't.
Don't know what you're talking. I don't even
I don't know what you're talking about. I
What?
thought she was always right.
I don't know
I was
the
gonna go ask
meaning
her
of
a
the
question.
word.
Please.
Please, someone tell me.
Please.
I hope she's not and substances, but nothing would surprise me with her anymore. Can OP testify for the dad? OP says neither of us want any more problems with Sheila. I don't want any problems for him if the courts do believe Sheila. Comment 3 says a controlled substance disappeared from her home, and instead of trying to figure out where it went, she's zeroed in on you and won't let that go. What if it was one of her kids or a friend of one of her kids? OP says I know where they went. My nephew, with approval from his doctor, stopped taking them. My nephew is autistic and thought you could just throw them away. I told him it's best to dispose of them at a local pharmacy so that they don't end up in the wrong hands.
And your sister said, wrong hands, more like your hands. Get them out of those hands.
He asked me if I could take them, and this was included with the original story, which I cannot find. I never thought it would be a problem because my nephew's in his 20s, he lives on his own, and the thought never crossed my mind to take them. I disposed of them at our local pharmacy. And this commenter replies, so her adult son asked you to dispose of them properly. I can think of 3 angles for her anger. She was sneaking the pills herself. She feels slighted because he came to you and not her. Or she has issues with you and is using this as an excuse to be angry with you. I think it's the last one.
But yeah, I agree because I think we just learned that nephew doesn't live with his mom anymore, right?
Yeah, he's 22.
Yeah, so he doesn't live with his mom anymore, which it's not impossible, but it would make it a lot harder for her to get access to these substances.
Yeah, I think she just wants you to be worse than her.
Yeah.
I think she needs you to be worse than her.
I think
There's
she probably has a
something-
pretty
Yeah.
strained relationship with a lot of her kids, and OP maybe has a better one, and she's jealous of that.
That's also a highly likely probability.
Yeah.
Can you imagine getting dunked on by your own kids about how the police escorted you out of your your aunt's home? Like, you should be like, yeah, all right, mom, calm down before
police
someone
show
calls
up."
the police on you again. That'd be brutal.
You couldn't win any arguments after that.
OP replies, my nephew lives about 2 blocks away from me, as opposed to 20 minutes from his mom. This was the only reason why he asked me to take them. If she was there that day, he probably would have asked Sheila to take them. Then she would have called him lazy. I completely agree with your logic and often wondered these things myself. Thank you for the validation. Yeah, also remember how she slurred her own son? Am I calling him the R slur?
Yeah.
That's
She's
not
not a great
funny.
mom. She's not a great mom.
You can't, that's not funny. Is there any chance that substance use disorder runs in the family? Any possibility Sheila's taking the pills and framing OP? OP replies, substance use disorder does run in the family. I've
Ooh.
witnessed the harm that it causes and wanted a better life for myself. My brother openly admitted to using, and she never treated him as poorly as she treated me. Because he's not a threat. In her head, she's like, well, why would I have to? I don't have to. He's got substance
Yeah.
use disorder. I'm better than him.
Yeah.
But you're
You're too good. She's got to bring you down. She
You're co-
hasn't found
you're
your
coming for-
kryptonite yet.
coming for her golden child status. So she's
Mhm.
defensive of that.
Yeah.
Comment 4. From the past posts, you have a long-running feud with your sister, Sheila, going back 4 years ago about a disagreement about a phone for one of your nieces, and your sister not wanting you to be in communication with her. It seems it would be wiser to not be in communication with your niece in Sheila's custody until her ex gets a custody or visitation agreement set up. Then once that's set up, you can ask your niece's dad if you can visit her when she's with him. Or you wait until your niece is 18 and you can uninhibited contact her whenever she wants. Just like you do now with Sheila's adult children. I don't think there's any solution for the state of your relationship with your sister. It's been hostile for a long time, and if she doesn't have one thing to argue with you about, she accused you of something else to start new drama. OP says, ha! I almost forgot about that. I've cut communication with Sheila as I have no time for her drama. As others have pointed out, both here and with family and friends, they think that Sheila is jealous and is looking for reasons to be mad at me. So be it. I will resume a relationship with the little one when she turns 18, as I don't need her to get in trouble because of me. One day, I'll get to take her on vacation again. A fourth commenter says, it seems to me Sheila will always be looking for trouble with you because she's permanently angry with you for whatever reason. You don't need her hassling you, so look out for yourself and keep good relations with your family and friends who know what Sheila is all about. And as you said, it's just a matter of time when you can take her on that vacation again. Good luck. OP replies, yes, I came to realize this a few months ago. I'm going to continue protecting my peace and maintain the relationships that I'm still allowed to have. Life has been much better. And that is the end of that stream.
Yeah.
I mean, story.
That's
That is the end
of the stream. That's
and,
it.
Yeah. Oops. Whoopsie.
That's where we end.
That's the end of that story.
Yeah. It seems like we're on, I don't know. It seems like OP's kind of just coming to the realization that there are things that you can't change. And you should just kind of worry about the stuff that you can change and work with. And you can't fix whatever's going on with your sister, so.
Yeah, and even though you would clearly want a positive, good relationship with your younger niece, it's like you being in contact with her will probably just get her in trouble with her mom and create all kinds of more drama and strife and just prioritizing peace above all else, until there's a way to do it without it negatively impacting your niece.
And I think
I
feel like a lot of her adult children probably have a pretty strained relationship with her already. And so I imagine by the time that, her 14-year-old daughter moves out, that will be the case too. And you'll be able to move freely within your relationship with her.
Oh, yeah.
But we've got another story.
My friend kept inviting herself on my trip despite me saying no.
Literally just listen.
My US friend group is pretty diverse, and we've all visited each other's home countries in the past 2 years. We've either stayed in a hotel or a family home, depending on space. By the way, this comes from that one girly X05, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, I'm going to my home country for 2.5 months in the summer. All of my friends have known since Christmas pretty much, and all of them know it's not an open invite like usual because I'm not going for fun. I'm spending my time there with my family, and I'm going to be busy with my fiance finalizing everything wedding related. So my friend decided that she didn't want to go home for the summer, instead wanted to come with me, and decided that she'll just stay at my family home like before. I told her that it really won't be a good time, plus we're not opening the family home for anyone outside of the family this year for a very good reason. Instead of accepting that, she asked about my other accommodations. I told her they're in use and not available. I didn't offer a hotel, and from the way she's been talking, she can't afford one right now. So instead of giving up, she said that she can just go there and figure it out then, which in my opinion translates to, I will fly there and make it your problem, so you have no other choice but to accommodate me.
Yeah, literally exactly that. She's like, I'll figure it out. I'll figure out that you'll need to help me, actually.
Yeah. I told her if she does that, she'll have to truly figure it out on her own because I'm not budging or folding. She laughed it off and told me that obviously because she didn't mean it like an ultimatum. I asked her if she's okay, if there's something going on at home or with her personally, etc., because it's not like her to do something like this. She said everything's good. I, however, feel like I'm stuck. If she goes through with her brilliant figure it out plan, she'll be a foreign woman in a country she's only visited twice before with a guide, aka me, who doesn't speak the native language or understand the map, etc. I can't leave her alone no matter what I warned her I'd do.
See, no, but that's false because you could Just leave her alone.
You just can't make this be your problem because it's not your problem.
Even if she decides to come out there, she will have to figure it out unless you cave and cater to her, but you don't have to. You've given her every warning.
And then advice, please. Do you have any other?
Literally let her do it. Let her do it. And then when she's like, I need a place, you'd be like, well, you can try over there.
I feel like send her some recommendations of tourist things to do and then be like, bye-bye.
Yeah,
You can't
truly.
stay here.
There's a hostel.
Yeah, that's enough help.
People travel alone on a shoestring budget around the world all the time.
She'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Some of OP's comments. Top commenter, I'd just be really direct with her. Hey, I know we usually travel in groups, but this trip is really just for fiance and I. We're staying with family and we've got a packed schedule. I genuinely will not have the time to spend with you nor the space to accommodate you, and then just leave it.
Yes. Perfect. That was perfect.
Yeah. Don't share any more info about your trip, not the dates you're going or the flight you're booked on. She's an adult, and if she makes the choice to go down there on vacation, that's totally up to her. But she'll have to fend for herself because you've made it clear this was not an open invitation and you're not going to be entertaining or hosting her. And OP responds, the thing is that I've already told her all of this, but I think she thinks we're being over dramatic or something. She doesn't know the exact date I'm leaving or my flight details, but she doesn't need to in a way. Yeah, she doesn't need to.
Right, because she has free will. She can do whatever she wants.
She doesn't need to go the same days as you because she's not staying with you.
If you've already told her all of that stuff, there's truly nothing left to do than to tell her you still can't stay here when she inevitably asks you after flying there.
Yeah. She knows the time frame, which is early July to early September, so she can technically fly there within that. Okay, so she does not know when you're going to be there, so just don't tell her when you're going to be there.
Yeah.
I know that if she does go through with it, that I need to stick to my pew-pews, but I will also be worried about her because it's the same person who's gotten lost in malls multiple times, LOL.
Again, not really your problem unless you like make it your problem.
You can't worry about her the whole time. You'll ruin your own trip.
It's true.
Another comment, text her so it's written and she can't say she misunderstood. As I mentioned before, I will be visiting my family and we are not inviting anyone this year. The family has plans and I will not be available at all during that period or something like that. Very clear and to the point. Do not let any room for interpretation. And OP responds, something similar is written out in our friend group chat, so I guess that counts. And we do have an update. Do you have any other thoughts?
Free will is a crazy thing.
Crazy. Update. So I took the advice and sent her a long text copy-pasted from one of the comments with just a few things changed up. Then I sent another text to my friend's group chat to make sure again that they know it's not an open invite, and then I wrote out why I'm making sure and what's been said between my friend and I. She left me on scene privately, but replied in the group chat that she's not daft. She understood me perfectly the first time. What she decides to do with her time and vacation is none of my business.
All right. The switch up. The classic switch up.
I told her that she should stop making it my business then and stop telling me about her summer plans altogether if it involves my home country. She replied that I don't have a claim to the country and that my family's reason for not opening up our home is stupid.
There it is.
And that we need to get over ourselves because it's not the second coming of Christ.
Dang. Hold on.
She's salty.
Is your name on the deed to the property you're trying to stay at?
Yeah.
No. So you need to get over yourself and figure out your own lodging accommodations.
Yeah, it's not her home country. It's your home country.
She's
you
not
do have somewhat of a claim on it.
She's not even trying to claim the whole country. She's just
Right.
being like, if you're planning to come here, that's great. Stop involving me because I can't help you at all with any of it.
We're not on a trip together. I told her she's free to her opinion, just like I'm free to mine, and that in my opinion, she's acting like an entitled brat. Yeah. I added that she should lose my number until she's ready to apologize, tell me what's wrong, because she's clearly not okay in my opinion, it's not like her, and talk it out like adults. If anyone's wondering what she perceives as not the second coming of Christ is my eldest brother and his wife welcoming their second baby in mid-July, and my parents, my other older brothers, and I being the village that we are and helping them while also spoiling my toddler nephew rotten. LOL. So no guests or visitors are allowed outside of our immediate family while my sister-in-law heals and she and my brother adjust per their request.
Right. There's a baby. There's a wedding.
The toddler.
There's no time. This is not hot girl summer. This is family business.
Why do you want to bond with their newborn so badly? Okay, we have an update. June 15th, 2025, just over 1 month later.
Oh boy.
Right, so I was asked to update when I made my first post, and I thought I would if she did end up coming after August/September. However, things ended up happening much sooner.
Ooh.
We didn't talk for nearly 2.5 weeks after my last text, and I didn't see her much at Hangouts since she was mad at the rest of our friends as well. They didn't exactly take sides, but they did point out that her plan was plain stupid. Anyway, she ended up coming to one of the girls' place for a group dinner, and we had a private-ish chat. She finally opened up about why she's acting like that, and as it turns out, she has a huge crush on one of my brothers and was hoping she'd get him alone this summer to shoot her shot with him.
Oh my God. Oh, come on.
She wanted Hot Girl Summer!
She was trying to go hot girl summer.
It's annoying, but I've been used to having friends having crushes on my brothers and my dad my whole life.
Dang, what? Wait, what?
What? So I just let her talk. She admitted that she has been sending him DMs on Instagram trying to get to know him, but he's been politely cordial at best and ignores half of her texts. Then she started asking me about him, about his dating history, which had me disgusted because he's bi and she wanted statistics on if he's been more into girls or guys so she can figure out her chances, and then asked me to help her out.
Right. Because that's exactly how that works.
That is exactly.
Yeah.
She gave me examples of moments that happened on our last trip with me and my brother, dancing, water fights, karaoke, etc., that I could help her recreate with him, which is just disturbing because she made my brother and I sound romantic, and it's just helped multiply my disgust.
Ugh.
When she was done, I told her that she needed to come out of her fantasy and back to reality. She was starting to creep me TFO. I told her that the fact is that my brother isn't shy. If he was interested in her, he would act like it. And him ignoring her speaks volumes. Besides that, I told her that she knows I don't involve myself in any of my brother's relationships, and even if I did, I would never allow anyone to use me for insider information. Then I said that this conversation was over and to never bring it up with me again. She got pissed and told me that I'm possessive and acting like a guard dog to my brothers, and that I need to get over myself because there was a spark between them on our last trip.
Well, you know what they say. One spark is all it takes for someone to ignore you half the time. He doesn't like you, dude.
He does not like you, and she's telling you that he doesn't like you.
Being like, you're being like defensive. It's like, I'm telling you, but it's clear. My brother doesn't like you.
I just got up, said bye to my friends, and left because she's clearly deluded herself into believing something that doesn't exist. On our last trip, my brother was so into the guy he was seeing at the time that he accidentally called the rest of our brothers by his name multiple times.
That's kind of cringy in and of itself, but whatever.
But you know what you can get into? Full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime.
It's literally all it takes.
We have another update. Do you have anything else before we get into it?
I just don't think I think this girl's going to end up being on the outside of this whole friend group because she's being so entitled.
Do you think she's still going to show up?
I hope she does and gets turned away. And then maybe that will start her down like I've learned a lesson path. You know, She'll be like, so it turns out I am entitled, but now I've discovered myself
Entitled or obsessive? Maybe some limerence going on.
Well, in both, because it's like,
Yeah.
because I'm obsessed with your brother, I'm entitled
Yeah.
to stay here.
Anyway, I've cut her off completely, and with everything that's happening right now, she got scared of traveling and dropped her plans, which is what she told the friend group. It sucks to lose her as a friend since we were close and all that, and I don't know how it'll affect the group yet, but crap happens, and I have too much going on to dwell on it right now. I, on the other hand, moved up my traveling and will hopefully be back in my home country in the next few days along with my family, which will allow us to celebrate my dad and one of my brothers on Father's Day, so yay! We celebrate on the 21st there. Some other comments. Commenter 1. I have a feeling I know where you're traveling, and it's bat crap crazy for this girl to think she can just rock up and wing it. Absolutely gorgeous country, but I speak 2 of the local languages, and I'd still be more comfy traveling with a group or my partner. This is not a beginner level travel destination for the average American.
Average America.
And OP responds, if you're guessing Lebanon, then you'd be right. And yes, I've lived there half my life, and I still get lost sometimes, taking shortcuts and ending up in a whole different area than the one I meant. And we have editor's note. OP has some other posts talking about Lebanon, which is how the commenter guessed that this was the country. Commenter says, might want to warn your brother about her. Her obsession is creepy at best and could very well escalate if she continues to spiral into delusions. OP responds, I already talked to him and he just shrugged it off. It makes sense for him, I guess, not to be worried since he doesn't live in the US and is only going to be in our home country for the planned time frame like the rest of us. Commenter says, still a real possibility that she shows up at their house in the other country. OP responds, she got scared with everything that's going on in the Middle East right now and put the idea out of her head. Still, even if she does somehow get to the airport, I'm 100% certain she couldn't point a taxi driver north or south, much less manage to get to our home.
She'd just be fully lost in Lebanon.
She wouldn't make it out of the airport.
Just, yeah, she'd be like, I just need to get back on the plane.
It's incredible. On how the brothers reacted and if they made fun of him when he called them the wrong name. They did, LOL. Each time they or he entered a room, they would reintroduce themselves and explain who they are like he's a dementia patient. They also got name tags for each of them so he can remember, and even got one for our at the time baby nephew and pinned it to his onesie just in case, and refused to take them off when we went out. Commenter says, even if / when I had a crush on someone, I would never ask someone to put us in a position to better my chances.
Which clearly that wouldn't have done.
Right. You're already trying hard enough. If it doesn't happen organically, I don't want it. She's creepy and obsessive. And OP says, exactly. I'm now engaged to my eldest brother's best friend, but back when I was interested in him and he still saw me as his best friend's little sister, I never ever asked my brother to play matchmaker or tell me stuff about him that I could use to soften him up or crap like that. It would have been manipulation in my opinion and just plain disgusting and desperate. I feel sorry for her because she's beautiful and any guy would be lucky to have her. She doesn't need to resort to tricks and lies. And that's the end of that story.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
She went and talked herself out of it anyway, so, you know, everything's
fine. She got
fine.
scared. We're good. There's no problem anymore.
Yeah.
Except losing a friend.
It took care of itself, because that's, I mean,
yeah.
It's sad that you're losing a friend, but like, I don't know.
She sounds kind of crazy, so.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
My parents are guilt-tripping me to come back home after evicting me.
Make up your mind.
Last week, I, 22 female, was kicked out of my family's home for not following the rules and being disrespectful towards my parents. I was sick with what they say was strep throat and stayed home from work because I didn't want anyone else getting sick. I work with kids, and I had this terrible neck ache spreading to my head. I couldn't hold my head up without massaging it constantly. By the way, this comes from Random Cass, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Carly.
I'm Sophia.
I'm Keon.
And we're here to give good advice, Goof. We don't have all the answers. We only know what we'd do, so let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, I told them I was staying home, and they weren't happy about it. But I'm a grown woman, and if I can't work, I'm not going. My dad comes into my room not even 10 minutes later and tells me I'm required to help around the house, that I wasn't allowed to have my boyfriend over, and if I wanted to see him, I'd have to drive myself over to his house. I told him I wasn't doing any of that. I was sick and in pain and needed to rest. He argued with me, saying I was lazy and comparing my pain to his, going on about how he still got up and went to work when he wasn't feeling well in the army. I told him this wasn't the army, and he's not my drill sergeant, and he needs to let me rest and get out of my room. Then my mom comes in to yell at me, saying I had until 11 o'clock to be up and ready to help around the house, or she was going to drag me out of bed and force me to work. I calmly told her no. I wasn't feeling well and needed to rest. She said no, I was going to be up by 10:45 and help around the house with all the chores. I started getting angry and raised my voice, saying I was sick with strep and she should let me rest. She got all huffy and said she'd be back at 10:45 to get me out of bed. Skip ahead to the end of the day when I started feeling better. I was up and tidying where I sit in the living room. I was texting my boyfriend and he said to guess where he was. Sure enough, there was his car parked on the street. I go outside to say hi to him. We're both standing on the street and my boyfriend is massaging my neck. My dad comes out and tells me my boyfriend has to leave. He has less than a minute to do so. I asked if he was serious because we weren't even on the property. My dad reiterated that he was serious, that he'd made a rule and I needed to follow it. I needed to follow it. I said his rule was stupid and that I'm a grown woman. My dad said 1 minute and walked away. I go back inside and both my parents try to confront me about my behavior. I calmly said no, I didn't want to talk to them right now. They said they didn't care, they wanted to talk. I said no thank you. I'm going to bed since I have work in the morning. Good night. They followed me into the hallway and forced their way into my bedroom doorway after I repeatedly told them to leave me alone. After some arguing, my dad said, "We just want what's best for you, but if you don't want to listen, then you need to find someplace else to live." I just stayed silent. Then my mom shoved her way into my room. She started yelling at me to sit down and listen. I told her no. She pushed me in my shoulder and said, "Sit your little butt down and listen." I was already reaching for the phone, trying to call my boyfriend. She tried intimidating me, saying he's not going to deal with you anymore. He's going to see your true colors and he's going to bring you back here. I got angry at that. After calling him and getting into a screaming match with my mom while on the phone, she told me, "Get out. You need to leave," and I punched a wall. She then said, "Oh my God, we should have her committed. She's insane." I would have laid my hands on her to show her insane, but I'm not one to stoop to their level. I will say punching a wall does ride a hard line for me on behavior. Do I think they were treating you great? No.
The thing
But
is that
it immediately escalating that into the potential of physical violence is the biggest no-no.
Yeah, I think that honestly, you just need to move out.
Yeah, I think moving out's a great idea.
I think you just gotta move out. That's my only advice for you.
It's wrong, I know, but she laid hands first and was almost asking for a reaction out of me. Unlike her, though, I have self-control over my emotions.
Well, do we?
Punching
You
a
punched a
wall
wall.
might not.
But you did punch a wall.
Sounds like everybody's a little,
Sounds like we're all part of the same family.
I've hit walls and stuff before, but never like to scare somebody who's in front of me. or intimidate them. And let me tell you,
Why have you
the
hit
wall
walls before, Dakota?
always wins.
Yeah.
The wall, you can't
Walls
beat
are
the wall.
tough, man. I've never punched a wall or a person.
I accidentally punched through a window
What
once.
the frick? We should get you committed.
It was an accident, and it was at a haunted
Likely
house,
story.
and we were like knocking on them just to like make like a rattle noise,
Yeah.
and it was a really old window, and I guess I just hit it too hard one time, and my hand went straight through
Well,
it.
probably good for the spookiness.
Yeah.
I don't know. The guy laughed in my face and went, "That's not supposed to happen," and then I walked
How does he
away
know?
because he had been messing with us the whole time.
Dang, rough.
So it's probably why I hit it a little bit harder than I had been. So I packed most of my clothes into different bags and left the house. That was Monday, September 9th, which was also my boyfriend and my anniversary. I've been back once with my cousin to get the rest of my things. My parents have texted me a couple of times asking to talk, hoping I'm okay, saying they miss me, but I've ignored all contact with them unless it was regarding my dog. Now they're sending family members to check in on me and try to get my side of the story, but there really isn't much else to tell. I really just don't want to focus on any of that negativity when I've already started feeling better since I've left. I'm currently looking for a permanent place to live in or near my city so I can be close to work, friends, and school. I'm considering starting a GoFundMe, but I don't like asking people for money and would feel terrible doing so. Please give any advice on that topic, even if it's just for deposits, rent, food, or bills. Anyways, sorry again for the long post. Thank you for reading if you stayed this long. We have some relevant comments. No, I am the middle child and only girl. What's strange is that my older brother did the same exact things when he was living with them and us, and they never treated him nearly as terrible as they did and do me. No, I was not paying rent. We had a verbal agreement that after I turned 18 several years ago, I was to go to school and work a job to avoid paying rent. They broke that agreement by making me pay $200 in rent for about a year, which left me nearly broke every month because I was working a minimum wage job. They tried again recently to make me pay $250 a month, but I was very firm on the agreement that we had as I'm still in school and working. That's actually what I told them the last time a huge fight like this happened, and I left my house for 3 days on my own accord. I wasn't forced out. When I returned, I had a long conversation with them about how I would help around the house a little more, but they needed to stop treating me like a child because I wasn't. I say tried because at the time I was working 2 jobs, and between the both of them, I wasn't making enough money to comfortably support myself. The job I have now allows me to thankfully try to save some more and rent a place if I can find something. But no matter what I did, they still treat me like a kid. I'm a little confused on the timeline here. Because they've had you paying
Honestly,
$200 for less than a year.
Yeah.
You had 1 job, you weren't making it enough. You had 2 jobs, you weren't making enough. You have a job now that you are making enough.
Yeah. Oh, so okay, this family sucks, and it's
Yes.
a terrible situation.
Yes.
But I think OP's point about like them treating you like a kid.
I think
Having
in some
lived-
ways, yeah, go
I
ahead.
don't know. I've lived with my parents when I like during COVID, and that's just I don't know. Maybe it's my parents, maybe not every parents.
like a kid.
But yeah, when you live with your parents, even regardless of how old you are, at least
Even when
mine,
I
you
go
know,
home for,
yeah,
like-
they treat me like a kid at
I'm
times.
like, I live across the country and I show back up at home and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
And also, you do kind of fall back into those patterns
Yeah.
of like being more like these are my parents. They made food for me, you know. And if OP even kind of admitted that she wasn't helping out enough, then it might be like, are we acting like a roommate or are we acting like their kid?
Yeah. I don't think that it's unreasonable for them to change and want rent if they felt like maybe you weren't holding up your end of the bargain. It sounds to me like you
Yes.
were holding up your end of the
I
bargain.
agree. I still think that they were unreasonable, but I think
Yeah.
that this is I don't know. It just seems like a common issue.
Ultimately, if you're saying now you can afford your own place,
Yeah,
move
then
out,
yeah.
stay in your own place.
Yeah.
Do it.
That's
it's
the
time.
thing. It's like unfortunately this is somewhat of a common issue, and the only way to fix it is to leave.
Right. Yeah. Duchess says you want to put your foot down about not paying rent and want to be treated like an adult.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, OP, I think,
There's
has
some-
this kind of
yeah.
expectation that she's an adult when she's 22 years old. And I don't mean this in like a negative way, but like she's 22 years old, not paying rent, living with her parents. And I think often just the dynamic just kind of happens by default,
Yeah.
where you revert
Yeah.
back into parent-child. And often the only time that your parents are going to like actually see you as an adult is when you become fully independent.
Right. These
And
parents
until
still
then-
sound icky,
yes.
poo-poo in a lot of ways.
Absolutely agree. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, this is
we're
not to deny
we're not
that.
defending
yeah.
the parents here.
Yeah. My point is just at the end of the day, the only way to gain that
out.
respect and to,
Yeah.
you know, get a little peace is to leave.
Just get out and
Yeah.
fully embrace that adultness.
Yeah.
Edits from the main post. I went through a lot of the comments and found some things interesting. Firstly, I never said I punched a hole in the wall. I did the old 1-2 the wall, and I know I shouldn't have. It was very stupid of me to have done so. Like I said in the comments, it takes a lot to get me angry, but that's no excuse. Secondly, I was not playing video games in the common area. I was sitting in the living room with a mask on because my mother had forced me out of my room and do chores and entertain the aunt she invited over, but I was sick and in pain. Third, I saw a doctor. The antibiotics were prescribed by them, and they tested me for strep. I only said I didn't think it was strep because I didn't have any of the typical symptoms like a sore, itchy throat or a cough. Okay, strep does have a cough. There is an update on my page and on this sub. I will link it below in the comments, and my apologies for any confusion in the original post. I didn't notice that some text got deleted until just now as I was reading the comments out to my boyfriend. Best wishes to you all. Update. Do you have anything else to add before we? So
no.
did she have strep or not have strep?
I don't know.
She had strep, but it wasn't strep
Yeah.
S.
Yeah, I think that like once you're able to move out.
Move out.
Yeah. It's just like, I think sometimes it's just like you try and live with your parents and it's like, nah.
Yeah,
gotta
you're
have a-
22. It's about the time that a lot of people
Yeah.
do end up doing it. Sometimes people stay longer.
And sometimes it works out for people. Like I have
Yeah.
friends who live with their parents and have a great relationship.
Exactly.
And are able to do that. And I have friends who are like, I would never live with my parents ever again.
Yeah.
And it just depends on the parents.
Update. Parents kicked me out and are now trying to get me back 2 days later. Editor's note. These are texts from the conversation with OP's family. Okay, Dad, Wednesday, 12:32 a.m. No one said you cannot come home. I love you, OP. You are my baby girl. I only want the best for you, and so does your mom. I don't know what we did to you that makes you unhappy. All we want is for you to be successful in life. But you can't do that while you're always laying in bed asleep, not going to work, or always sick. You need to take better care of yourself. I love you. No one said you cannot come home. You can. Yesterday at 7:58 p.m., Dad, your mother and I are a mess. We miss you. I wish we could have just been able to talk about it. I hope you are doing well. From the mother. OP, I am thinking of you. When you are ready, hopefully we can talk. I am a disaster. I love you and I care for you. Little brother, is there a game tomorrow? And do I have mail? Little brother, I'm staying out of your business. If you want something, you can come by letting me know a day in advance and fix your attitude. Otherwise, don't come around at all. There's games every Friday. OP, I was just asking, jeez. Little brother, I didn't do anything wrong. OP, neither did I. I was just asking you a question. I don't think I need a day's notice to ask if I have mail. I wasn't going to pick it up. Little brother, yes you do, because as far as it goes, you don't live here anymore, so you need to tell me a few days in advance to pick something up. If you don't think you did anything wrong, then that's what you think, but it ain't the truth. Anyway, I'm busy. I have to go. Rest of the post. It's been about a week since I originally posted. I wanted to provide some clarification on certain things. My family is Hispanic, and my mom is very authoritarian. It's her way or the highway. I don't want to get into it because this will be a very long post, and I want to keep this shorter than my original. Regarding money and bank accounts, I am working on getting my money out. I am going to head back to the bank today, September 20th, after work, and work on getting it closed after withdrawing all the money. I was also going to sell my car and use the money to buy a little scooter, since I am now responsible for all my medical and car insurance bills, but I am just going to get the cheapest options and hope for the best. I was only selling my car because I was still living at home at the time. I am currently living with my boyfriend, and on the weekends, I'll be staying with my aunt about 30 minutes from the city. I have a tour scheduled for a 1-bedroom shared bath today, after work, and an apartment tomorrow at 3, both in my area and close to work. I want to thank you all for the support you have given me, and those who have reached out privately even more so. Thank you so much. I only have 5 people supporting me in real life right now, and they're the only family who believe me. My parents ended up turning my little brother against me, and that feeling sucks. The feeling is indescribable. Last week he was on my side, and this week is the polar opposite. Attached are the screenshots of the things they said when I didn't come back home right away. Again, thank you all so much for your support and your help. I will update again once I get everything squared away, but I will still respond in the comments as they pop up. Update 2, 19 days later. So about a week after I was kicked out, I went back to the house with my cousin to get the rest of my clothes and some things I wanted to bring to my aunt's house. When I got there, my dad let us in and tried to give me a hug, but I didn't let him. Context: they use hugs as a way to get you to listen to what they have to say. They'll hug you and whisper into your ear like, "I'm sorry about all this happening. Please come back. Forgive
That's
me.
so
It
terrifying.
won't happen again."
I love you. Come back.
Yikes. So I don't hug them after fights because I hate dealing with that. I packed up my things while my little brother and cousin talked. Then my mom came home and basically stormed into my old room and looked at us all like she was furious before saying hello to my brother and cousin. I didn't get a hello, but for the sake of being polite and not starting anything, I said hello very flatly, no emotion behind it. She hates when I do that. She thinks I'm being rude. Sounds like you both were a little...
Sound like, I don't know, it just sounds like OP has a bad relationship. Like, it sounds like typical, like, parent. A lot of it sounds like typical parent. Like, I hate my parents.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, I need to know other things. Like,
Yeah,
are they
that's
like,
right, you
do they
know?
gaslight you a lot? And like
Yeah.
these texts could be that, and we're just
Yeah.
not getting that from like this
I need
one
more
experience.
perspectives.
Yeah. She didn't say anything, just huffed and walked away. Both my parents kept coming into the room and staring at me. My dad with sadness and regret in his eyes, my mom with anger. Once I got everything packed, I went to get in the car with my cousin, and my parents tried talking to me several times. I told them I wasn't ready to talk, yet they insisted. And while I was sitting in the car, they came back up, opened the door, and started apologizing. They said that they loved me and missed me, and that they've been a wreck since the whole thing occurred. My mom started saying how she wasn't sure why I hated her so much, since she's done nothing but support me in anything I've wanted to do. Her support was just a lot of criticisms when I told her about the things I was passionate about. I didn't say anything, as they both told me how much they loved me and missed me, and how they've been a mess without me there. I have the whole thing on video, and I really hate that they do that to me. I ended up staying with my cousin's girlfriend that night at her apartment. Then my dad started texting me almost nonstop for the next 5 minutes about insurance things and how they missed me back home. How it was good to see me, and that they hoped I was doing well, and that I always have a home with them. So to finish off this update, I'm going to rapid fire what's been going on since then. I went back to my aunt's house to go through all my things and see how I could fit it all in my car. I did a dang good job fitting all that in there. I stayed with my boyfriend for another week to be closer to work and told him about my original post. He agreed with a lot of your suggestions, but said I need to take all comments with a grain of salt because something that works for me might not work for someone else and vice versa. I ended up moving in with my grandparents temporarily and had my mail transferred over there. After moving in, I sat down with my parents and had a real talk with them. I told them that what they did was wrong, that I am not a child, and they had absolutely no reason to treat me the way they did. They shouldn't have forced their way into my bedroom to argue with me, and they should have just let me rest like I needed. I explained that I was sick and didn't want to see anyone. I then told them that they have been doing this for years, and they need to understand that it's just not going to work that way anymore. And that they need to be okay with the fact that I'm trying to grow up and they are trying to hold me back. They agreed and said they were sorry if I felt that way. They can see where I'm coming from and they shouldn't have acted that way. There were some things said that we agreed on and some things we didn't agree on in the moment. We've since revisited since we're on speaking terms now. Regardless, they said I should give some thought about where I'm going to be staying so I can get to work on time. I talked to my younger brother about what he had sent me, read the text to my parents, and they actually told him that he needed to apologize because he had no right to be saying that to me. He tried fighting back with, "But it's true, she needs a day's notice." And my dad looked up at him and said, "Yeah, to show up at the house. She doesn't need any day's notice to ask about mail." My brother was like, oops. So yeah, we apologized to each other and kind of left it at that. We still don't talk much, but we never really have. By the way, you can always talk with us with full episodes of stories just like this. You go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, search up OK Storytime. It's a little bit more.
Damn, I don't know. I think, yeah, it seems like a bad relationship for all of you guys, and I think it will. If it were going to improve, it will do that when you guys are no longer living together.
Yeah, I think that
It's not
moving
like
out could still be a really good option.
Yes.
I'm a little confused if you can afford it or not. If you're having to
I think she's
maybe
moving in
sell
with
your car.
boyfriend and aunt. No,
I thought that was temporary though, because she was looking at apartments.
well, yeah, well, probably temporary until she can't afford it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as long as you have somewhere to be,
Yeah, but definitely, yeah, staying at your
I
parents is
still
not a
hold
good idea.
strong move out.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah.
Clearly unhealthy situation there.
I got sick again since I didn't finish the first round of antibiotics. Plot twist, it was strep. The doctor gave me something different since the amoxicillin was hurting my stomach and not having the same effect this time around. I saw my boyfriend again for the first time in a week and spent the night at his house. We ended up playing Animal Crossing all night. I did a lot of homework and regular work. Being sick doesn't mean the grind stops.
Except I will say not nice because you should be resting.
Right, I thought the whole thing was like, can't do stuff because we're resting.
Yeah.
I get that schoolwork, but even if I missed a day or two for actual work and had to leave early the rest of the time, I pushed through as best I could, and I'm proud of myself for that. So yeah, that's about it for now. I was supposed to hear back from a possible apartment, never did, so I'm taking the L on that. Call them. That's the end of that story.
My family keeps forgetting me, but remembers me when bills show up.
Shows up where? The Capitol Hill?
Ooh, my brain is spinning in the way that only self-absorbed people can make it spin. For some context, I had just been patting myself on the back for surviving another combined Mother's Day / my birthday, 37, get together with my parents. For the third year in a row, the only mention of my birthday was after we cut a cake and my mother said, "Oh, we forgot to sing." No card, no one even said the words happy birthday. By the way, this comes from Just and Throwaway, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit, and I'm Angie.
I'm Dakota.
I'm Sophia.
And we're here to give good advice in a goofy way. So, but give us some grace because we don't know everything. So
Yeah.
let us know what you know in the comments.
Yeah.
And Opie says, every Memorial Day, my parents, my sister's family, and my family go on vacation together. Last year, we didn't for obvious reasons, and I'm assuming that was 2020 or something. And this year seemed to be heading in the same direction. It was never even brought up. Until yesterday, when I got a text from my sister saying they had been planning it for 6 to 8 months just in case it was safe. And they forgot to mention it to me. The trip is a 5-day vacation, 8 days from now. Obviously, I said no, and that was it. I left it alone. A week ago, my mom asked me if I wouldn't mind being an emergency contact for her dogs whenever they board their dogs. I got confused because I live an hour away and my sister lives 1 mile away. And I said, wouldn't it be easier to use the sister? My mom got awkward and said that she just wanted extra backup. That was the moment my mom figured out that I wasn't invited and didn't know it. It turns out when she asked me, she was specifically talking about this up north trip, thinking I wasn't going intentionally, and still didn't say anything to me or my sister, like snotty teenagers that didn't want me at a party. Then my mother texted me saying, I want you to see this. It's a gut feeling and I don't want you to feel like it was planned. The text was followed by screenshots of her and my sister laughing that they forgot to invite me. What? I think it was supposed to make me feel better. At no point has anyone said, I'm so sorry we forgot to invite you. My family are firm believers that if you didn't do something on purpose, there's no need to be sorry. I responded to my mother, well, I'm glad everyone got a good laugh out of it. She replied, I'll let that one roll. I should have known better. That response sent me over the edge, and I group texted them saying, I can't believe no one thought this would hurt my feelings. I fought myself so hard on responding, and I should have just trusted my gut, but because it's always an explosion when you say your feelings are hurt in my family. Since then, I've been drowning in a list of reasons that no one needs to be sorry, how it was just an accident. For every time they say, no one did this on purpose, I respond, I don't care how it happened. I know it wasn't on purpose. I care that no one thought this would hurt my feelings or tried to understand how it would be hurtful. When I told my sister that listing reasons that I shouldn't feel bad and then apologizing isn't helpful, she said, fine, I'll rearrange it. And then she said, I'm sorry you found this hurtful. And copied and pasted the same reasons again for why I shouldn't be hurt.
Opie said, you can't just do that. And she said, well, what if I flip it?
Yeah. What if I can?
She said, flip it around.
Yeah.
Wicked witch.
I keep asking how, in 6 months of planning, no one wondered out loud if I could make it. How my presence didn't come up in one conversation. This was the last response I got from my mother before blocking them both. You honestly believe that this trip was planned and you weren't invited? That's what you think of me, Dad? That we would intentionally hide it from you? Or that sister had an agenda and I went along with it? Shame on you for thinking that. There's no remorse needed. It was a genuine mix-up. No one is out to get you. Jeebus criminy. How old were you this year? Haven't we always been there for you every time you needed us? And yet we would go behind your back and do this. You better take a little time and think about what I'm saying. You're done, and so am I. Yeah, I would block that too.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. Yeah, I'll think about it long and hard when you guys are on your fantastic vacation that you didn't include me in.
I love how she's like, how old are you? But then it's like, yeah, how old are you, stupid? You forgot how to invite your whole family on the family vacation?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. No matter how many times I say, no one is out to get me, I know it wasn't on purpose, they won't hear me. I'm slamming my head against a brick wall and I have no idea what to do. I honestly want to cut contact with both of them, but I literally moved across the country to be close to them and my niece again. Losing contact with my niece is what really hurts. We do have an update. No one look at those spoilers.
Why did we move back?
I don't know. Maybe we were far away and then they were like, my family. And then they moved back.
It's because of the time. It's the pandemic time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Pandemo schmemo. Yeah, I did the same thing.
Me too.
We do have an update.
Yay.
After Fallout, Mom is demanding I pay for student loans. Uh-oh, not a great way to start this.
Bing bong.
This is more than 3 months later.
Oh boy.
I wasn't ready to go no contact, so I was trying to manifest a very low contact relationship. I was still able to chat with my sister and my dad, and I even had one phone conversation with my mom and dad about a month ago that was neutral and easy. In her first attempt at contact since our fight, my mother emailed me with a list of options for me to take over student loan payments. Great. This was 20 years later. When I was a senior in high school, my parents told me they would pay for my education. About 2 years in, they wouldn't or couldn't take out any more loans, so I took over getting my own financial aid and ended up covering 70% of my education. She has been deferring and accruing interest on the loans for 20 years and maybe even refinanced them, as she mentioned that they are still accruing interest. That leads me to believe that they do not fall under the student loan pause. The loans that she wants me to take over are in her name completely. These are her exact words. this is what we thought would be fair. Pay part of it off and we will call it even. Take over the payments of $308 now and increases. Pay the interest, or you can choose to do nothing. No loan terms, no end date, no exact amount. My inner child is screaming for me to pay them off so I can still be close with my mommy. My adult self is telling me that she can't unring the bell, and even if I pay her, our relationship will never be the same. My therapied self is telling me that my mother is punishing me for standing up for myself and is now quantifying how bad I want a relationship with her in actual dollars. Help. And there is an edit, but oh boy, I think that's accurate, what her therapist self said.
Yeah, that was. What's the funniest way you could respond to that? Yeah, I just want you to take over these horrific loans that I've not paid off for 20 years.
Yeah.
Because I'm terrible at personal finance, probably. And
Right.
and if you do that, then I can be your mama.
And it was just loans for the 2 years and then 30%, I'm assuming, afterwards for the rest.
Well, that was 30% was the OP said they paid for like 70%.
70. Yeah.
I think if you just responded to that with the meme of like Patrick Bateman from American Psycho,
Okay.
where he just goes like, ooh,
Yeah.
like, and then just never talk to them again.
Yeah, there you go. I think that's accurate.
So that they're like, wait, what does that mean? Is that a yes?
Yeah.
What is that? What does this mean?
They would just freak out at that.
Please, what? Please tell me what this means.
Freak out.
And then you could send one more after like 10 text messages. You send one more just obscure gift that could mean anything.
Yeah. I like it. What would the obscure gift be though?
Like the second one would probably be like,
It's the guy solving all of the math equations.
yeah, it's the guy doing
There
the
you
math
go.
in his head, or like the kid at the computer who goes like,
Yeah.
It's the baby with peanut butter on him.
yeah, it's that. It's
I think
that.
we found our winner.
It's that one.
And I responded. I was starting to feel sick over anticipating responding, so I just pulled the Band-Aid off. Starting to feel better already. An update 2, this is what I responded. Hi, yes, I remember you bringing them up several times because I knew they were not all mine, but I had no way to defend myself as I don't have access to loans that aren't mine. As you told me you would pay for my education, I thought you were venting, so I didn't realize you were hinting at the fact that you changed your mind. I am currently paying off much, much more than what you've listed here, so I think it's fair and even to keep things as they are. I've had no control or oversight over this debt for the last 20 years, so I don't think me stepping in now is wise. But I won't do nothing. I will continue to pay off the lion's share of my student loans, as I have been. It's hard to tell from the screen grabs of sister's loans and the tweets, but it looks like I'm covering about 70% already. OP. And we do have a third update.
Oh boy.
Is my sister being used against me? Oh my gosh, there's just even more layers to this.
What are they, like grabbing her by the ankles and swinging her around?
Yeah, it sounds like it. Update number 3. This is more than 7 months later. Wow.
Oh my
Very-
gosh. I wonder how much more interest is on the loans now.
Yeah, right? Very briefly, I had a falling out with my family a year and a half ago, and I tried to maintain low contact, which of course means I'm still jumping through hoops, but I'm able to keep my sanity. Because of this, my mother tries to frequently get me to play the game, and the less I engage, the more my mother raises the stakes. And because she's so much better at the game, I have trouble seeing things clearly sometimes. My mother called me on Monday to let me know my sister with cerebral palsy is in the hospital. She assured me that everything was fine. My sister just needed some help because she has the flu and everything is more complicated by cerebral palsy. My father called me on Tuesday morning from the hospital so I could talk to my sister. She communicates through squeals and a very expressive face. Again, my dad assured me that everything was fine and that they were hoping to take her home that day. Tuesday night, my mother calls to give me another update and tells me that she did not, in fact, come home from the hospital, but is still improving. They just want to keep her one more day. Then she finishes the call with, "Can you come sit with her for a while?" My mother and father both have the flu as well, and I live 90 miles away. They had to wait 24 hours just to get her in a room because the hospital is so overfilled with the flu and the vid patients. And by the way, your favorite podcast platform, whether that's Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast, whatever, is overfilled with stories just like this one. Just search OK Story Time. You can find them and listen to all of them all the time for the rest of your life.
A lot of people right now are trying to say that OP is really bad at no contact, which is fair, but it was in the middle of the global pandemic.
I think we could also be reminded that it wasn't no contact, it was low contact. So, you know. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I mean it definitely sounds like she's not, or she has a hard time standing up for herself, which with this family, understandable. But she's doing it though. She's doing it. So that's good. That's good. We have a little bit more to this story. My sane brain is telling me not to go to the place with all the sick people. But my fogged up brain is saying, how dare you not go visit your sister when she's in the hospital? For some backstory, my husband and I decided to travel for Christmas this year instead of a painful family holiday, which I told my mother twice, and she has forgotten twice, and still tries to tell me about times and plans for Christmas. My gut is telling me this is a reaction to that. But I'm still working on fixing my intuition after a lifetime of manipulation. Am I right in thinking I shouldn't go down there, or am I being selfish? And that's the end of that story. I mean, first of all, props for you for working on your intuition. It's hard to trust yourself after everyone in your life has told you that you're wrong and that you should not trust yourself for your whole life. But yeah, I think follow your intuition. What have they done for you? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Follow your intuition, and don't you pay that tuition.
Yep.
My assistant lied about me, so I refused to let her have her vacation.
What? You can't take that away.
The title sounds rough, but hear me out on this. I, 31 female, have been managing a small Starbucks kiosk in my store for a little over a year now. And in that time, I have faced nothing but struggles, mainly with my assistant. We'll call her Betty. By the way, this comes from Honest 5400, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Carly.
And I'm Savannah.
And we're here to give you good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we would do, so let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, when Betty was first hired, she made a deal with the old manager that she absolutely needed Thursdays and Fridays off, but never gave a legitimate reason for needing those days in her interview. At the time, I was the bookkeeper, so I heard her entire interview since the bookkeeping office and store office are side by side. Our old manager granted that to her, but it never became a written agreement. That was over 2 years ago. Betty calls out sick twice a month after her weekend, claiming that she has the flu or food poisoning, but comes back the next day as if nothing happened. And she takes 4 10-day vacations a year. Is that stressful on me? Yes. But I've always managed to get through it. However, when I am sick, which is rare because I have to feel like I'm passing away to call out, she refuses to cover me or anyone else, even though I have covered for her countless times by working doubles when she calls out. Betty is always ready to leave the minute her shift ends, whether someone is here or not for coverage, leaving me high and dry. I normally do not care about someone taking vacation, since this is part of our compensation. I put my vacations in as soon as my vacation renews, so there's no need to fight over it. One of my vacations includes my 1-year anniversary with my boyfriend right after New Year's. 2 days ago, Betty came up to me and said that she talked to our ASM about getting January 2nd through the 10th off for a wedding she has been discussing endlessly. I get her excitement, but I told her, unfortunately, that's not going to work because I have January 2nd to the 6th off. January 2nd is my 1-year anniversary with my boyfriend, and I won't be in this part of the state. One of us has to be here. Betty looked shocked and said, well, can you change the time you go out of town? We already put the deposit in on the venue. I told her, this is why I have the planner for us to put our vacations in, so we know when either of us is gone and avoid overlapping issues. I've had this time off approved since the end of July, and I'm not willing to change it or give up my planned vacation time that works for my boyfriend and me before he begins his next quarter of school. I could tell Betty was furious, and all I got was, we'll see about that. Today, Betty went up to management and lied, saying that I agreed to change my vacation in January so she could get married. She could get married? I thought it was her friend's wedding.
Yeah, wait. I'm very confused.
I'm not gonna lie, at the beginning of this, I was very much like, well, she sounds like she just is working at a job that she doesn't really like, and she does her bare minimum, and you can't really be mad at someone for doing the bare minimum on something. Like, as long as was she not being the most considerate? Yes, but like,
I thought the same thing. I was like, it's just someone who like just works because they have to,
right.
and
as
you
long as
know.
she's doing her job when she's there and like supposed to be there, sure. Now this is like, girl, come on, Betty, what are we doing?
Yeah, and also the fact that like she lies and then is
Right?
like, oh, she said that she would change it for me, like
For my
what?
wedding, when it was like a friend's wedding before.
Yeah. I'm confused. I am very confused on whose wedding it is.
Management came up to me on the sales floor in front of her and said it was generous of me to change my vacation for her life plans. I was furious. I turned to Betty and said, "What on God's green earth made you think it was a good idea to lie to management? I have never stopped you from taking a vacation in the past. Nor did anyone else here, but I told you I am unwilling to change my anniversary trip to another weekend so you can get married. I'm sorry you'll be losing money, but you have to pick a different day." This is where I told to management and told them, if you still approve this, not only will I go to corporate and the union to complain, but you'll be looking for a new manager for this department. I will not be treated this way for one person to get whatever she wants. Betty was infuriated with my response to the point where I saw her starting to cry, saying she needed a minute. A slight part of me feels bad for blowing up, but in this situation, she only did it to herself. Am I the a-hole?
No.
Yeah. Betty needed to put her time in. As long as this planner thing that you were mentioning was the legit way to get, like, 'cause she was like, I went out and bought a planner. As long as that's like the legit approved way for putting in time off and she had access to that and she had the time off, she should have put in for it.
It's also not right of Betty to, come in and lie and be like,
Yeah.
oh, they said that I could change it and take their days. Like,
I'm glad
that's
they
not
checked
okay.
with you so that didn't happen to you. Like,
Yeah.
your OP's vacation get taken away.
Yeah, because that would have been infuriating. I would have
Yeah.
been like, excuse me?
I'm just more so like, we really have no one else that can cover just two people taking time off.
Yeah, at like
All
the
my friends that have
Starbucks.
ever worked at Starbucks have so many backup people. Maybe this is
Yeah.
just tiny. Where do
they
you
said
guys
it is
live?
like a kiosk, but like
Relevant comments. Commenter 1, not the a-hole. She doesn't get to lie to management to get her way. You claimed the days first. Be aware, she's likely going to try to sabotage. You and your manager need to plan to go if she quits right before or just doesn't show up. And if that happens, it is still not on you to stay back and cover the shift. Your time is still approved. If she quits beforehand, you still get your time off. That's on the company at that point.
yeah.
That would be effed up if the company tried to do that to you. If you're caught unaware, it's 100% on you guys. What country are you in that she gets this much PTO? 4 10-day vacations? I have zero problem with her getting Thursdays and Fridays off, like it or not. That was agreed to when she was hired. I also have no problem with her not picking up extra shifts. That is not required. She doesn't have to be a team player. This is not a family. It's a job. Calling in sick on a predictable basis is a problem and should be heavily documented. Explain the issues to your direct manager and to HR. Ask them how you can handle it because it's not all right. Track all of her calls outs with details about when, relative to the shift she called out, who was available to cover, what her excuse was, when it happened relative to her other days off, if it was on a holiday or especially busy period. If you have access to her social media, see if she's posting pics on those days or pics of partying the night before. Build a detailed file. OP says, I live in the US and how it works with my company is the first 10 years of the company, you only get 90 hours of PTO. Between 10 and 12 years, you get 100 hours. 12 to 14 years, you get 160. 15 and above, you get 200. Allotted PTO is based off how long you've worked for the company. I just hit 12 years in July, so I'm at the 160 hour mark. Betty has been with the company for 3 years, so she only gets 90 hours PTO, and the rest is unpaid time off, which employees don't get reprimanded for, as it's a requested day off. I do have a year's record of her callouts, but not just her, everybody, including myself. I didn't want anyone to feel targeted, and I make sure that everyone knows I keep track of this stuff, including me. I have presented her attendance issues, not just to upper management, but to both my DMs on the company side and Starbucks, since I deal with both. They've spoken to my manager, and nothing has happened. At this point, it's on him. I do also have the morning crew alert me if she called out, and I come in sooner as the department is my responsibility to keep it up and running. Another thing I forgot to add in, agreements that are not written with previous management are null and void when new management steps in my company. But Betty goes to the union each time something doesn't go her way, forcing management to roll on their backs. OP responding to a downvoted comment about when she got hired at the company at such a young age. OP says, I'm 31. I got hired right before I turned 19. Technical and community colleges accept people well beyond 18 for education in the US. OP explaining what happens if she and Betty can't be off at the same time, even if it's just for a few days. OP says, if the main manager is out, the assistant needs to be present, vice versa. Basically, a manager needs to be present each day, regardless how it works out. What happens if you both actually get sick?
Yeah, I feel like that's not a good system.
Yeah. Commenter 2. Betty is an entitled brat, but you could have picked a fight with her on any other time that wasn't her wedding. OP says, I understand your point. The wedding just came up within the last week, months after I had my time off approved. Well, now we're lying because you talked about how she's been talking about this wedding nonstop for months.
Yeah.
That all you've been hearing about is this wedding, and now you've only known about it for a week.
So I think maybe Betty didn't share the date, but was talking about
talking
getting
about
married,
it.
you know, blah, blah, blah. And then
I'll give you
OP's
that
like,
one.
oh, I'll just, you know, put in my time, whatever. Not thinking that it was going to correspond. I don't think that OP actually knew that the wedding was at that time. If you did OP.
Well, I don't think that changes when you're with your boyfriend is, though. Like, that's still inconvenient timing. In my head, I'm at the point where she maybe was like, oh my God, these are the same weeks. Better get that in. Which, like, and you did it the right way.
Yeah, that's true. You did it the way that you're supposed to, but you also could have said something, you know, but also she doesn't really respect you in that way. So
yeah,
why
not
should
at all.
you know?
Yeah. I'm with that commenter where it's like, couldn't you have picked it before the wedding kind of thing? Like, I hope that she doesn't lose out on all these deposits for a wedding because that's a lot of money. But
Yeah.
at the same time, I am like, she probably knew the protocols, but like, I don't know. I'm always like, if you can help someone out, why don't you help someone out? But it's like, she doesn't help you out, so.
Yeah, no, I'm exactly the same.
My boyfriend is still in school, and this is during his vacation. It would be one thing if I could pick a different weekend with my boyfriend, even with major holidays being a blackout period. But to lie to management to take my vacation time after it was approved months ago is not okay with me. I won't roll on my back for that. Commenter 3, not the a-hole. Why is Betty still employed there? OP says we're a union, so it's very difficult to fire someone. Can OP go to the union and report Betty since she lied to the management? OP says, I have talked to my ASM, assistant store manager, about her attendance issues, and there has already been a problem with Betty going to corporate and making a false accusation on HR. Nothing has been done on their end. I can only make so many suggestions to them about having a documented conversation when they don't seem interested. We are a licensed store, not a franchise, so we are technically employees under the other company in the partnership, Kroger, and union. It's very hard to just fire people in a union. There has to be a big reason, and fighting for time off that was approved months ago for a last-second notice is not grounds for termination. Dishonesty is, but they don't do anything about it. Commenter 4 says, it doesn't sound like Betty is doing anything out with her rights on any of your background info. You're the manager. If there's no coverage at the end of her shift, that is a you problem. Sounds like you need to hire another person. Opie says, I understand your point. We are a partnership kiosk, not an actual franchise store. I already work 6 days a week and can't work a 7th. That's part of our union contract. If it happens on my day off, Betty is in charge, so it becomes her responsibility to find coverage, much like how it is my responsibility to do the same when she calls out. That much I understand, but I tend to work doubles since my closers can't come in early due to school interference. I wish I was part of the hiring process, but HR leaves department managers out of that. OP clarifies on the pay cut for her position. OP says, I actually didn't take a pay cut for this position. I was under the impression that I was going to get a raise for being in a manager position, but they took that away, so I kept my current pay and the tips make up for it. I developed the habit of tracking things very early on in life, so this is just natural habit to this point. When I was the bookkeeper, management also wanted me in 3 other departments helping out, and I got to a point where I just wanted something stable and reliable for work, and this was my ticket. Has OP spoke with the proper district managers of her company about the situation with Betty and the days off? OP says, I have already spoken to Starbucks DM and my company, Kroger DM, about her in one of my planning visits. I didn't have to mention her work ethic as they already knew about it, but I did mention and present how often she calls out, stating that her attendance is a liability. I know it was put in an email because I have it printed out in a file in my locker with my boss CC'd in it, but nothing on his end was done about it. As far as her days off go, that was the least of my issues with her because I have a set day off each week. However, we're going through some scheduling changes where Thursdays and Fridays off for Betty is not doable for business purposes. I even had to change my day off, which I was fine with. So maybe she'll just quit. If that was kind of like already written up that those had to be her days off, if you guys can't do that anymore, maybe she'll quit.
That's true. Yeah. Maybe because I wonder what she's doing Thursdays and Fridays. I mean, it could actually be something serious. It doesn't have to be like, oh, I just want a pregame.
And I don't think she has to disclose that information.
Yeah, no, you definitely
Do I
don't.
want to know? Yes.
Am I nosy? Maybe.
Yes. There's a couple problems with the Thursday-Friday weekend for Betty now. 1, not doable for business purposes. 2, that was a non-written agreement under different management, so that agreement is now null and void. I don't know why. Maybe I've just felt very against OPs today. But some things that everybody keeps saying, I'm just kind of like, why are we doing this? Like, why doesn't it work now? Is this just because something happened and she lied, which is terrible, but are we now changing things because of that? Or is this, like, in actual need? I just want to know everything.
I
Like
feel
Savannah
like-
said, I'm nosy.
Well, especially like with, talking about this stuff, it seems like these people, like OP, very much like is doing everything by the books. So then why is it not working? So like that's what I
Right.
don't understand is like how did all of this come to head when you've been complaining, you keep records, you keep all these things,
Right.
but they just don't do anything.
Yeah, it sounds like your upper management sucks. Even more than
Yeah.
Betty somehow.
Yeah, and I don't know how you could go over their head and like go to the union. I feel like that's
Right.
like overdoing it, but
Well, the union's going to be way more on Betty's side, though. The union's
Yeah.
there for Betty, not for the company running smooth.
I know, which sucks. I'm sorry, OB.
The unions are great at the same time,
It's true.
because they fight for you. But
But they also fight for all of the people in it
Yeah.
that are sucky.
which sucks. Our current manager doesn't need to honor that. 3, she's pulling everything she can to get her way, even if it means calling the union. And we have an update.
Oh, just get to it. I want to
Let's
hear.
do it. 1 month later. For a recap, my assistant, Betty, asked me to reschedule my 1-year anniversary trip with my boyfriend so she could have her wedding, to which I declined. Then Betty went to management and lied, saying I would do it for her only for it to blow up in her face. One thing I forgot to add in the original is that I keep a planner in the department, not just for important things coming up like a launch or sale dates, but also so Betty and I can put in our vacation and work around each other. So no vacation overlaps due to previous problems last year. And yes, Betty is fully aware that this exists. I not only put my vacation time off in the system, but the planner as well as soon as my vacation hours renew. All vacations 6 months to a year in advance. So there's no question of it. Fast forward to today. Betty did it again.
Did what? Lied?
I was flipping through the planner, so for the coming months, I knew what to expect and have a plan weeks in advance of important dates. I knew Betty scheduled her wedding date, but didn't know when. I only had the hint that it would fall towards the end of May to early June, in a local park you can rent part of for the day. No shaming, but I know that dates can be switched easier than an actual venue, which works for me as well as I will be around.
Wait, I thought
I thought it was like just January.
that's what I also
Okay.
thought. It was like
I think
New
that's what we're
Year's.
about to find out.
Yeah, okay.
For the last 4 months, I've been pretty vocal with my plans the week of the 21st to the 27th of June, as my boyfriend and I will be going to Yellowstone as an end of school year summer punt off vacation. When I saw the month of June, I noticed she wrote in her wedding day falls on the start of my vacation. 3 days ago, Betty looked at me and said, I know you're excited about going to Yellowstone in June, and you've been planning it since the end of March, but I was hoping you would do me a favor and push your trip back so I could have my wedding day. I scheduled it for the 21st. I looked at her in disbelief because apparently she didn't get the hint the first time.
Okay.
Okay, so they had rescheduled it. Now, OP, I'm sure that a park with a tent is way easier to be scheduled, but I also do feel like she could potentially be limited on dates. And you did know months in advance this time that it was going to be around that time in June. And I know it's once again like, okay, but you followed the books and you put it in first. But if she had rescheduled her wedding and told you the time of year
down to like roughly when in the month it would be, and then you planned your vacation for that exact time because you wanted it to be a summer punt off. Oh god.
This is so bad.
This is just messy.
It's so messy.
You
And,
guys
like,
just need to not work together.
yeah, there's like no communication, and when there is communication, it's just like
Confusing.
I can't do that, and I can't do that. Well, you schedule this, and I schedule this, and then it's
Yeah.
just like,
Like, I get it. She's hard to work with, but now I'm kind of like, let this girl have her wedding.
I mean, yeah, I'm the same. I'm like, I understand you did it by the books, OP, and like, you know, you're not changing it, whatever. Like, you know, I get being stubborn about it, but at the end of the day, you know, like it is very hard to plan a wedding, and plus like dates are very specific,
Right.
you know.
Yes, I did have to gather my thoughts because it's clear to me she's doing this on purpose at this point. I
don't know.
I don't know either. I calmly told her, no, we've been down this road and I'm not rescheduling anything. I've had planned and approved on work's end for months because you planned poorly. I'll also remind you that we have a planner for these reasons, to schedule around each other's vacation so nothing overlaps. We are both in leadership roles, so when one of us is on vacation, the other has to be here. Yeah, I mean, yeah, she does need to learn that eventually, though.
That's true.
Betty stayed silent, and I saw her face turn red. But instead of giving her the opportunity to lie to management again, I went up and said something. By the way, I'm going to say something to you guys. And it's that you can go listen to more full episodes of stories just like this. Go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, wherever you get your podcasts, search up OK Storytime. There's a little bit left.
Just do it. Rip the Band-Aid off. I need to know.
I showed my boss the planner and our system, and that this is a problem she doesn't see. I made it clear. Even though it shows one day, expect her to call out in the next day or two. I will be in Wyoming and will not be willing to change anything, as this trip is half of my boyfriend's big Christmas present. Management confirmed that her day off has not been approved and she will need to rearrange the day as I got it approved first. Betty did look like she wanted to cry because she's not getting the princess treatment she wants, but she also doesn't realize that other people have lives too. I do fully expect her to call out and leave the department high and dry like she has done many times in the past, especially while I'm gone. We will see what happens. And we have some relevant comments. Commenter, what kind of person books a venue for a day that they know they have to work? Opie says, a local park. She does because we all know she's going to call out. But what she should know, since she's called the union so many times, is making false accusations that if she calls out on a denied request, that's grounds for termination. That is the end of that story.
My parents canceled their trip to meet my newborn just because my brother was upset.
Well, I don't know. I would cancel my trip to meet a newborn.
Some background, my parents live across the country from me, so we rarely see each other. My relationship with them has often been contentious, but over the past year, we have been getting along very well. And it felt like we had truly turned a corner. By the way, this comes from Lavafoot 2000, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
I'm Savannah.
I am Riley.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we do. So let us know what you would do in the comments. And Opie says, my wife and I are both 35 and recently had our first child.
Yay!
Cute.
Baby makers.
This has been a very happy time for us and for my parents. My brother also lives in the same city as me and had a child 2 years ago. My brother and I have never gotten along and are currently estranged. He has violent tendencies and is lashed out when he doesn't get his way. This has been an issue since childhood and eventually escalated into him being violent towards me. Because of that, I have chosen to live my life without him in it. One long-standing issue I have had with my parents is what I feel is favoritism toward my brother. There are many examples, like their dismissal of the seriousness of his violence towards me, and another is how quickly they forgive him for serious behavior, while much smaller issues on my end have led to months of them not speaking to me. I'm not perfect, but I have worked hard over the years to grow and improve myself. I have tried to let go of the resentment and focus on my own family. When my brother had his child, my parents were overjoyed. They posted constantly on social media, made many trips to visit, and showed a lot of public love and excitement. While I do not like my brother, I was genuinely happy that their grandchild received so much love. Yeah, that'd be crazy if you were like, yeah, I hate my brother and his little kid too. Hate that baby so much. Baby sucks. However, this often meant that time with me was minimized. There have been multiple occasions where my parents traveled out specifically to visit my brother and his child. and did not set aside any time to see me or my family at all. And at times even completely kept the trips a secret from me. What? I was not always happy about that, but I tried to be understanding and assumed things would be similar when I had a child. Fast forward a couple of years, my wife and I announced we were expecting our first child, and my parents were very happy and excited. Around the same time, my brother began going through a divorce. Due to his actions, he lost the ability to have unsupervised visits with his child. His anger and instability increased. While I was not involved, my parents would occasionally mention how unstable he had become and warn me in case he decided to lash out at me. When my child was born, my parents were thrilled and we
Yes.
it worked. He hit it and it started working.
Oh.
However, they did not post anything publicly or celebrate the birth the way they did for my brother's child. They told me this was because they didn't want to upset my brother or trigger him due to potential jealousy. Who cares?
Are you just gonna let the brother run your life?
Are you just gonna let that happen?
This hurt, but I tried to ignore it and focus on enjoying my new family and looking forward to their visit. I work for a small company and had to use all of my paid family leave, sick time, and vacation time to be home with my newborn. Once my paid family leave ends, I will not have any meaningful time off again for quite a while. Also, the nature of my job makes my work schedule pretty unpredictable, week to week. My parents had planned to visit and stay with us during my paid leave for several days to meet the baby and help and guide us in the brand new world of parenthood. 1 week before the visit, my father called and told me they were canceling the entire trip because my brother was having a tantrum over a visitation issue with his child that was scheduled during the time they were visiting. They said they didn't want to upset him, so they're just going to cancel the whole thing. I was extremely upset.
Yeah, what the heck?
Really quick, I think that you give them, I know ultimatums aren't always good, but I think you tell them that if they do this again, they just lose access to your child.
I mean, yeah.
Because you want a grandparent that's going to be consistent.
Yeah. And if it's going to always depend on, the mood of the brother, then it's like,
imagine this kid, your child is expecting grandma and grandpa to come, and then they just cancel last minute. That's super hurtful for a kid.
yeah.
Yeah,
and
he's
they're
newborn
like-
now,
they,
but-
especially if, they really have an attachment with them as well. Like, if you have already met them and they, have that, and then it's like, no, sorry, uncle comes first.
Yeah.
Like,
He's an
that's
adult.
sad.
He needs to get over it.
Yeah.
I asked if they could just block him, ignore him, or simply not tell him they were coming, just like they did to you. He doesn't know where I live, and we're not connected on social media. I reminded them that they have, on multiple occasions, come out and visited my brother without seeing me or telling me. I begged and told them how much this meant to me and that I felt like I wasn't given the same consideration and care that they gave my brother over the years. I explained my feelings, but they refused and said that was not an option. What made this worse is that my parents were completely unremorseful about canceling. They openly said that canceling the trip last minute wasn't a big deal and that they didn't do anything wrong. They wouldn't acknowledge that this paid family leave window is the only time I will have off for quite a while, or how difficult it will be to arrange another visit. My father told me I was taking paid family leave regardless if they came or not, so it isn't an issue or a big deal. It really bothers me that my family and my child seem so easy to brush off and are not treated as a priority. Now that my paid leave is over, any future visit will be extremely difficult or possibly not doable at all, as I won't be able to easily get time off. Due to this argument, they have stopped talking to me, and I feel like I'm being gaslit into feeling like I'm the bad guy here. Like I'm in the wrong for being upset. I feel like my family is being punished for things my brother has done. Am I the a-hole for being upset that my parents canceled their trip to see my newborn because my brother was upset? And we've got an update, but what do you think?
I am with OP 100%. I don't think that the parents have a right to do this. Like, every time, something comes up, like, oh, sorry, like, have to cancel our plans, have to do this, have to do that because of, brother. And it's like, okay, so do you just not care about us? Like, that's what I'm getting from you, just not showing up and not being there and, like, making these promises, but then not going through with it. It's kind of like, should we just, like, go low contact Because it's just like it's hard to like have all these empty promises.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I used to date a chick that had a brother like this.
Oh, really? And what'd you think?
It was miserable to be around him. Because it was like they were just caretaking for anything he wanted to do. It was just like, bro is 26. But it was like...
I mean, yeah, that's usually how they are.
I finally got a hold of my father. He had blocked me after I voiced my displeasure and hurt feelings for the canceled trip. And you know what? We're starting to understand how the brother ended up like he was.
Yeah.
He told me he didn't do anything wrong and that there's no difference with him coming out months from now, specifically saying the child isn't looking up and recognizing me, so it doesn't mean anything if I came then, when we had the baby and I had PFL, versus months later. By the way, it means a lot if you could listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. There is a little bit left to this story. Do you have any final thoughts?
I've said everything. I feel like, he's obviously like the parents also are just like not helping in this situation of just like, I hate when parents can't like you can tell your child what to do. I don't care how old they are, if they're like, 5 or if they're 50. Like you can be like, hey, grow up, or hey, I'm your parent. This isn't how you do that. We're not going to go there.
And they don't have to agree with you or do what you say, but you can still tell them that they're in the wrong.
You can definitely do that. And they can definitely make the changes necessary if they are willing to.
Call
if
them
not,
out.
then like, yeah, call them out. My
coddling
parents
them.
my parents call us out all the time.
My parents are the most blunt people ever.
Yeah, same. My mom, I mean,
My mom especially.
yeah, my mom too.
They will tell you everything. But we got more. He also said there was no possible way they could have come out without being at risk of my brother doing something. Doing what? If you're worried about him, send him to get help or something.
Yeah.
So we had to prioritize safety, even if the chances of anything happening are minuscule. He said that not telling my brother he was coming or staying at an undisclosed location was not possible. I mentioned this thread and the consensus of opinions. He said he doesn't care what millennials think, and they're wrong, and if we asked baby boomers, they would agree with him. He said it's no big deal that they don't make social media posts celebrating the birth of our child, despite them doing it for my brother's child at birth. That if I don't like it, I should maybe rethink having a relationship with them. And that's the end of the story.
So these parents obviously just hold one child over the other, which is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and to be in that shadow is just like so annoying. Like, okay, cool, got it. You don't have to tell me twice.
My wife licked whipped cream off a stranger. Her friend thinks I'll divorce her for it.
Well, will you?
Last year, my wife and her friends went to watch a group of male dancers who end up unclothed, like Dream Boys, but a little more low rent, who perform in pubs and social clubs rather than arenas. I've got no problem with this, and I've never been the jealous type. By the way, this comes from Throwaway Why Care, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Sophia,
I'm Carly.
I'm Keon.
and we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we do. So let us know what you would do in the comments. When she came back, she told me and her friend posed for some photos. She showed me the photos, and they are the sort you'd expect. Them stood either side of him with their arms around him, and him stood there with his old man out. To be honest, if I looked like him, I think I'd constantly be unclothed, lol. One of the photos was him with a hat over his chap. What are you saying?
This
Who
is
are
British.
you?
Where are
This
you?
is
Who
British.
are you? His old man out, his chap? Huh? Must have been a bloody big hat. With my
Oh.
wife and her friend holding the hat in place and kissing him on the cheek. It's a funny photo, and my wife looks great. Okay. Anyway, we'd completely forgot about it until last week when a leaflet went up in the local pub saying they're coming back in January, and the photo on the leaflet was the one of my wife. I saw the leaflet and sent a photo to my wife saying, "You're famous."
You're so okay with
I love
this.
how chill you are. She rang me up and was embarrassed, but we laughed and joked about it. And she checked the group's social media, and sure enough, it was the profile or header picture on all of them.
Oh,
I said she should ask for free tickets as payment.
yeah, she should.
least
She
they
should
can
get
do.
more than
Opie's
that.
so chill
I'd
about
be
this. That's
mortified of
funny.
my face
Oh,
being
yeah.
on it
Oh,
more
yeah.
than like. I just be
Like, it's great
oh,
that Opie's chill.
I didn't pose for this ad.
Yes, this was a photo that we took, and I didn't realize I was being
I
used
mean,
as promotion.
You said she looked hot, so
That's good.
glad she was looking A
Hot.
plus.
That night, we were watching I'm a Celeb when the friend rang my wife crying and saying her husband has stormed out the house after seeing the photo. While my wife was consoling her, the group chats on WhatsApp were going a bit mad. Some of the men and women saying it was disgusting and cheating, and others saying it's not that serious. I said I've got no problem with the photo and I find it funny, so won't be getting drawn into any discussions about it. I had a few people reply disagreeing with me. How are you going to disagree with OP about OP's relationship?
Right. You can be mad about your own, and you
Yeah.
can be mad that you guys like the other couples can be mad that they didn't pre-discuss boundaries. But
Yeah.
if you guys pre-discussed it and you're
Yeah.
both like
Like none of their
fully no
business.
problem at all for us, then it's a non-issue.
Truly a non-issue and like none of their business.
Yeah.
I had a few people reply disagreeing with me, but I ignored them all and just carried on with my evening. The next day at work, my wife rang me up, said that a few of her friends had messaged her saying she needs to support the other friend and punt up a fuss about the photo. The friend had replied to posts on Facebook and Instagram saying she wants the photo taken down and she's going to sue them. The comments obviously caused a lot of people to laugh and take the piss out of her, which has wound her up even more. If she wants the photo taken down, it should be
The
taken
picture
down.
should be taken down.
My wife refused to get involved and said she's not bothered. To be fair to the dance group, after a couple of days, they edited the photo, so it's just my wife in it. But the friend and her few loyal madheads are still saying it's not enough and they want apologies and all sorts, and to be honest, are just embarrassing themselves. I don't
I think so.
wrong.
That, depending on your job or like just like other people in
Absolutely.
society, could have a backlash for some people.
No, absolutely.
Even if you're okay with it, other people aren't.
Family members, workplace.
I'm immediately thinking work.
Yeah. There are like
Not-
a lot of
I
people
mean,
who have
not
very
here, but-
conservative family members. Or
Yeah.
maybe like, let's say you're a part of a church, but you know, you have other things that you do
That
outside
could
of
get
that.
people from a church.
Yeah, there are many reasons why you can't just post pics like that without.
Yeah.
And they could have
I-
easily emailed.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe not, but like if there was any way that you had bought tickets or something.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I saw recently a
Through an email.
semi-similar situation, a girl on TikTok talking about how a local bar posted a picture of her, and she said, "I am not out to my
Unacceptable.
family.
Yeah.
You cannot be
Unacceptable.
posting that." And they gave her backlash.
Yeah.
But like, you can't just be posting things and like giving up what people are doing like that unless
Mhm.
they've signed
Yeah.
something.
They are still saying if my wife joined in, then the group would be forced into action and remove all the flyers too, which still have the friend on. It's been a week now, and I can see the effect this is having on my wife. She's not confrontational at all, and it's upsetting her that she needs to either tell her friends to leave her alone or confront the dance group and punt up a fuss about something that doesn't really bother her. I basically wrote out a draft of message I want to send to the friend group saying that my wife and myself have no problem with the photo and that we would wish to be left alone about it, and that if my wife's friend wasn't smart enough to realize that the photo would be made public after signing a consent form.
Okay.
See, this changes things.
Yeah.
Then that's on her. And if her husband is that bothered by it that he's leaving her, well,
my
then
God.
that's on them and has nothing to do with me and my wife. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Shall I send the message or just ignore the fuss and hope it passes away? I'm so angry at the way my wife is being treated and seeing how upset she is. I want to go scorched earth, but I'm not sure that's the right approach. Common One says, send a message, dude. If she signed a consent form, it's common sense. If she didn't tell her husband where she was that night, it's on her. Not your wife, not you, not the dance group, and a simple matter. Fact is, this is why they make you sign a consent form. OP says, agreed. If she chose to lie about where she was and what she's doing, then that's on her.
I'm hoping that she, like, that one friend didn't blame OP's partner, which is like, she took me out to that event. Or,
She
you know,
might have.
yeah.
Probably did at
Yeah.
this point.
She's
But
probably
again, it's
grasping for things.
Yeah.
Comment 2 says, you. I'm fine with this in our relationship. Random person. I disagree. Where do they get off thinking they are part of this discussion? Their opinion means nothing.
Yeah. It's issue, not an ish me.
Comment 3 says, cheating is when you break the rules set in a relationship. So your wife didn't cheat on you, but seems like the other wife cheated on him. If she's lying and sneaking out, seeing guys like this when her husband isn't on board with that kind of thing, then she cheated on her husband. At the very least, she lied to him. and neither of them trust the other. Yes. This is 100% a consequence of the other woman's own actions, and it's not fair to take that out on your wife and embarrass her to the group she saw by having her make a fuss out of something she previously consented to. Honestly, I'd leave the chats and make new friends. They are, in a way, completely disregarding your wife's feelings in the name of basically a cheater. Not okay. And OP replied she apparently lied to him about where she was that night.
There it is. And there,
Yikes.
We figured.
that makes sense.
Comment 4 says, did your wife or her friend sign a consent form that allowed their images to be used for promotional purposes? Where did you see the original images you talked about before the flyers were put up? On your wife's phone? On a website? To get a better context on your comfort level versus your friends, where would you have drawn the line in the pictures your wife posed for? In other words, what would it have taken for you yourself to be embarrassed by a photo? OP says yes, they both did. My wife's friend took them on my wife's phone.
Okay, so they
How did
were on the
they
phone.
Get them then. Did you send them in? They were obviously different angles and not as professional as the one used, but I've already seen it.
I'm guessing they just
Oh,
both.
Because
did
they were,
that.
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
something
okay,
they
okay.
were posing.
They probably
Yes.
handed the phone
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
the
that's what I
professional
guess it was
camera.
talking
Yeah.
about the
Yeah.
the old man out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Nothing would have embarrassed me. I trust her and find it fun. An update a month later. But do you have any thoughts before we get into it?
Where was the wife licking the whipped cream off?
We haven't gotten that yet.
Oh, that's still to come.
I don't know. Is it? Or did it already happen and I
Shut
missed
up. That was it on purpose.
it? Was that in the photo at all?
it
'Cause
it
didn't
wasn't
sound-
mentioned
it
as
didn't
being in the
say.
photo.
By the way, I didn't say anything.
You smirked at me funny.
You made a face.
I make faces
You
every second, every day.
Yeah, we haven't heard about the whipped cream. I wonder if there's more.
Yeah. As far as like thoughts, do I think that your wife could have stood by her friend a little bit in wanting to get the pictures down? Yeah, probably. Do I think that they should butt out of your relationship? Yeah, definitely. You guys signed a consent form. Like, you knew what was probably going to happen with the pictures. At some point, they were going to be posted on the Instagram.
Yeah.
Don't sign consent forms that you're not okay with, but also back your friends up when they need some help.
Update a month later. So a few days after this, a few friends were still pestering my wife, and she got really upset one night and told me to send the message, so I did. Turned out my wife's friend had completely lied to her husband about where she was that night, as she had banned her husband from watching so he said she wasn't allowed to go. The fact, she went, lied about it, then posed for photos after signing a consent form for the photos to go on social media is a special kind of stupid. She has now fully fallen out with my wife and blames her for the breakdown of her relationship. She told her husband that the men locked the doors and wouldn't let them out until they took the photo. My wife obviously confirmed this was bollocks.
Bollocks!
And said they actually waited and queued for the photos. It all kind of went down after that until about a few days ago when I woke up to a group chat message from the former friend, and it's a few videos. And I think we're finally getting to the
to it.
The videos are from the show, and it shows the guys going through the crowd like they do, and one of them are at my wife's table. He sprays whipped cream on his abs, and she licks it off. He then sprays it on the end of his old man and flicks it all over my wife. And she's playing it up by having her mouth open with the tongue out, and then it wipes it up with a finger and licks it off while everyone cheers.
And you know what? Would that be too far for me? Yeah. But
Yeah.
it's your relationship.
It's at the end of the day,
It's
your relationship. My boyfriend will not be doing that. Another video shows him spraying the cream on my wife's cleavage and licking it off. I know what she's doing. She was trying to cause trouble between us. So I scrolled back through the messages of me and my wife that night and found the messages where she had told me what she had done, and it matched exactly what happened in the video. You guys have a very healthy relationship.
Yeah.
And I screenshot them and sent them to the chat and said, already know about this, I don't care. By the way, I do care if you guys listen to full episodes with stories just like this, because you can find them on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio if you search up OK Storytime. There is a little bit left to this story.
I like how that friend was like, everything's collapsing. I guess if the ship's sinking, everyone's sinking with
She's
me.
taking everyone down with her, but it's
And-
not gonna work.
And
Except,
she's like,
but not for me.
yeah.
And yeah, for me. Again, the group chat got a bit lively with some saying it's cheating and others saying it's not. I told them it's our relationship and I found it funny, as she's normally a bit reserved. And I told her to go out that night and have some fun, as she deserves it. And get some wiener in your face, lol. So she did that. So she did. It's all gone down now. I'm sure a few of them talk about me behind my back, but I don't care. My wife and a couple of them have already got tickets for the show in the new year, and hopefully there isn't any drama this time.
You should
Hopefully
go,
they read
OP.
the fine print.
You should go, OP.
Well, as long as that friend's not going, it sounds like
Yeah.
it'll be fine.
Hopefully you're not friends with that friend anymore.
I doubt it.
I refused to use my girlfriend's old car, and now she says it's disrespectful.
How dare you not want to use the car that I don't want to use anymore?
For background, this involves me, 21 male, my girlfriend, 21 female, her best friend, 20 female, along with their online friend, 22 female, and the online friend's fiance, early mid 30s. They met about 2 years ago. The online friend stays about 6 hours away from us, as the three of us, me, my girlfriend, and girlfriend's best friend, all live pretty close together. By the way, this comes from user lowcontact4448, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Dakota.
I'm Angie.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't know. We don't got all the right answers. We are just a couple of goofballs. So let us know if you do anything different down in the comments. My girlfriend is the one who initially met the online friend, and then she introduced the online friend to her best friend. Also, the online friend has a fiance who she lives with. I'll abbreviate GF for girlfriend, GBF for girlfriend's best friend, OFF for online friend's fiance, and lastly, OF for online friend. Previously, girlfriend and her best friend have gone on a trip to see their online friend about a year ago for a birthday party and decided not to stay at a hotel, but rather at her house to save money and to spend more time with her. I was against sleeping over at online friends because it was online friend's fiance's family's property, and they hadn't met in person at this time and only knew each other through VR chat. Luckily, it went fine enough. I'm going to call him Digitanse.
Okay.
However, when girlfriend and Digitanse were alone in the living room, not too far away from the others, he asked my girlfriend something along the line of, "White man's gonna get you." He is white, and he was referring to himself. This really aggravated me, and when I was told about this, along with being told he was generally creepy and gave off bad vibes, as well as seeming pretty controlling over online friend and what she could do, wear, or say, I wanted to go down there with them next time to stop anything bad from getting out of hand. This isn't the main part of the issue, however. Come to the present day, and the three of us, me, girlfriend, and her best friend, have been talking about going on an after Halloween trip to see online friend again. We've been in talks about this trip for at least 2 to 3 months. About a week or two before our trip, I was working on getting everything I could together, including budgeting money for the trip, as her best friend ran into financial hardships through no fault of her own. So it would be just me and girlfriend funding the trip, as girlfriend insisted for online friend not to worry too much about money for our trip. I was already feeling a little off about the trip at this point because it felt like I was the tag-along, as I wasn't aware of the hotel we were staying at, even though I asked multiple times for the details. I insisted we get a hotel, as girlfriend was asking if we could just sleep over at Digitanse's place again, which I advised against, citing how girlfriend and girl best friend felt uncomfortable sleeping there even if they had knives on them while they slept. I was still fine at this point, mainly because I just wanted to be there to make sure my girlfriend was safe and could have fun. Come a few days later, and the three of us had started talking about going to a Halloween party before the trip on the night of Halloween, which I initially agreed to go to, but we did not have any parties that we knew about. This is where the main issue starts. Come to the day before the trip, Halloween, and it is found out that girl best friend's car, a 2019 Ford, the car we were planning on taking, had some important maintenance issues that would need to be fixed, or we couldn't take the car. I didn't fault best friend for that either, as stuff happens. My car overheated once into an hour-long trip with no prior warning. Girl best friend had a backup car, which is a reliable Toyota, a 2012, I think. So it wasn't too much of a worry. Girlfriend then offered her car as a third backup, a 2001 Toyota. I recommended instead of her car as a third backup, we could get a rental instead. I researched rentals in the area and found one to fit our criteria along with good rates. When I informed girlfriend of the rental, how much it would be, and that I would be able to cover all expenses, along with being able to put the car in my name so they wouldn't have to worry about insurance or roadside or anything else, she got pretty annoyed at me and was insisting that I think her car is a bad car.
Well, what if I do? What if I do think your car's poopy doo-doo car? It's the color brown, so what else am I supposed to think?
Sorry, you got a brown doo-doo mobile. And that her car was fine. I never used those words and have reiterated her car is fine for smaller trips, but I don't want her to risk it for such a long trip. I asked her if she had roadside assistance, good tread with no dry rotting on her current tires, good oil, and similar stuff. She recently got her oil changed due to her oil light being on, but we still have to troubleshoot what code a check engine light is throwing in her car, as I haven't had time to check it for her yet. I'm not a mechanic. I just know some, not all, basic car maintenance from dealing with my own car troubles. She insisted her car was fine while stating she did not have roadside assistance and that she wouldn't really know what to do in the case of a breakdown or accident. And note, this was all over text in a group chat with girl best friend as well. At some point, I'm not sure when, it became an argument, and I kept trying to say that I just didn't want to risk her car, as she has a 1-hour round trip to work, and that is her only viable transportation for work due to where we live, unless she pays for an Uber, which that would be expensive. It is also worth noting that the morning of this day, I had let girl best friend and girlfriend know that I wouldn't be able to go with them to any Halloween parties tonight, as I had to finish packing, finalize some costume pieces, and other stuff I didn't feel prepared for, such as checking out the town we would be staying in, as they made jokes or references to sundown towns close to where we would be staying. After a period of not texting until the evening, I reached out and asked girl best friend if there was any update to the car situation, for which I was told that girl best friend and girlfriend weren't worried about that tonight, as they were trying to go to a Halloween party for Halloween night, and that we would worry about what was going on with the car situation tomorrow morning, which was when we were supposed to leave. Buddy, it just sounds like these girls are like, no, we're chilling. Well, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. You put that out in the universe and it'll be fine. And you're like, but what if it's not? But what if it's not? We need to figure it out right now.
Like all those like type B friend videos where they just don't plan anything at all.
Yeah, I mean, really? Like, neither of you are wrong. It's
Mhm.
like, I also agree with, like, we'll figure that out if we need to figure it out.
Yeah.
And it also pays to be prepared.
Sure.
I think maybe you guys just have a little bit of incompatibility in the way y'all travel. That's really it. This made me really uncomfortable, as it felt like this was too last minute, and I can get anxious when plans are falling through or uncertain this close to big trips. I tried reaching out to girlfriend at this point, asking if we could meet in person to talk really quick, or if she could call me. I was ignored until about half an hour later. It's about 10 at night at this point. I was then told that she was driving and to not text her, as they were heading to a Halloween party with girl best friend. I started panicking at this point, as I had no clue what car we were going to take, and I felt like I was the only one who was worried about it. Once they arrived at the party, about an hour later, she essentially stated that if I want to get a rental, then I should get it, since I think her car is so terrible. She also said that she didn't ask me to try to do all of this. This hurt me, since I felt like I was trying to help. Long story short, after this, I stated I couldn't go anymore, and that the lack of planning before this trip made me too nervous and off-put to go. One thing that stuck out to me was when I asked why she didn't try to help figure out a plan for tomorrow, she stated they did, but she only offered her car as a third backup, but that it would be almost guaranteed not to be needed. I asked if it was almost guaranteed not to be needed, why offer it? And why get mad at me for offering an objectively better third option for something that wouldn't be needed? She stated that I was disrespecting her car and that she worked hard to get it. She previously had another car but lost it in a freak accident that wasn't her fault, also stating that it was her greatest achievement and to basically not ever talk down about her car. And by the way, I'll never talk down on the mountain of full episodes with stories like this you can listen to on your favorite podcast platforms like iHeartRadio, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. All you got to do is search OK Storytime. I think your move here, buddy, was like to pivot and be like, oh, your car, I love your car. Your car gets you to work every day.
Yeah.
And that's really where I'm coming from, is I just don't want, this
Right.
trip to put strain on your car and then you
Yeah.
can't take it to work, you know?
I think that's a great point. I just want to take care of your car. That's all.
Yeah, it's not about your car's not good enough for us. It's
Yeah.
it pays to be careful. I felt hurt by this too, as we have been dating for 2 years now, and I helped her as much as I could to get back on her feet and get the car she has now. I feel like she has disregarded all of that and assumed I was trying to talk down on her car. I feel like I'm in the right, but since they left and I heard from girlfriend, they have had to cut out activities they planned, including not staying at the hotel for a third night, but instead sleeping back over at Digitance's home again for the third night due to the lack of funds that me not going caused. I am not sure what to do now, as we agreed to talk this out in person, but I'm questioning if I'm even in the right at this point or if I was the a-hole here. So I must ask, am I the a-hole? And that is the end of that story. I don't really think anyone's an a-hole here, to be honest. I think girlfriend was probably, was not wrong in feeling a little frustrated or upset. I think we just failed in our execution of like communicating and de-escalating. I do think backing out of the trip was the wrong move, but I
Yeah.
don't think you did it to be like a contentious a-hole. You're
Yeah.
just an anxious traveler.
My uncle promised my daughter a dream trip. He never planned to take her.
He did take her in his dreams.
So, a little backstory. When my sister and I were kids, every year for our birthdays and Christmas, my uncle would give us cards. Inside those cards would be a printed out picture of some place, i.e., local theme parks, the zoo, aquarium, museums, any place a kid would love to go.
The moon?
I would love to go to the moon. After we opened them, he would tell us that we're going to that place. He would say things like, "It's gonna be the best trip of your life." That would obviously make us very excited. By the way, this comes from new user 9461, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Sophia,
I'm Dakota.
I'm Keon.
and we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we'd do, so let us know what you would do in the comments right below, or sometimes they're over here. Here's the thing. We never went on any of those trips. We never went to any of those places. He didn't take you to the zoo. As a young kid, it would be disappointing. But after a while, I started expecting it and just going along with it. I don't hold any animosity towards him at all, obviously. As an adult now, I understand he did that because he didn't have the means to buy us gifts. Here's where I'm starting to have a little bit of an issue with it. My daughter's 5th birthday was last week. My uncle gave her a card. She opened it to find a printed out picture of a theme park about 2 hours away from our house, and he promised her a fun weekend away. He promised her things like a giant hotel room with a swimming pool and all the snacks she could ever want, and tickets to every show she wants to see at the park. She was over the
Oh
moon.
my gosh, they're actually going to the moon.
Now I'd be really upset if this is happening to my child.
Yeah, you can't keep that going. For the past week, my daughter has talked non-stop about this trip. She keeps telling me how excited she is and how excited her whole class at school is for her. It breaks my heart to look at that smile on her face, knowing it's not going to happen. I remember how disappointing it was for me, and I don't want her to go through that. So I texted my uncle. Here's what the message said. Hi. Your message in my daughter's card was beautiful. Do you think next time you could leave out the promise of an extravagant trip? The thought and gesture is amazing. However, I never know what to say when she asks me when this trip will be. She absolutely loves spending time with you, so I know the promise of even a nice lunch together would make her so happy. He never responded, but my aunt told me he was upset. She said something like he was offended that I implied the only thing he could afford was a nice lunch. I didn't mean it like that at all. Well, I mean it that way. Is it? I just wanted him to understand that she loves him and wants to spend time with him, and he doesn't need to promise impossible things to make that happen. But I can see why he interpreted it the way he did. And that's where I'm wondering if I'm the a-hole. No! This has been an unspoken thing in my family for so many years, so I'm now wondering if I should have just kept it that way. I just can't stand the thought of my little girl getting disappointed so many times. My sisters and my mom agree with me. My mom even said she wished she stopped it when we were kids. So am I the a-hole for telling my uncle to stop gifting my daughter extravagant trips? And we've got an update, but what do you think?
No, I would have literally brought up my own experience. I would have been more straightforward in that letter and been like, hey, remember how you always let me down about these trips when I was growing up?
Yeah.
You can't keep doing that.
And when your aunt said, well, he was just offended because you said that he couldn't afford it, I'd say, every year I got one of those freaking cards that said I was going on a trip and he never took me. What was the reason? Could he not afford it, or was he just an a-hole?
Yeah. Is he just a freaking stinky cheese liar, man?
Because there's only 2 options. And one of those options is honestly both of them, actually. Because he was either an a-hole or he was an a-hole and he was broke.
Heads, I win. Tails, you lose.
But we got an update 3 days later. Thanks to everyone for your feedback on my last post. A lot of people asked me why I was being so nice to my uncle. And honestly, I think I underestimated how weird it was because it's been so normalized in my family. I am glad everyone in the comments is going, what do you mean? Your uncle disappointed children every year on their birthdays.
What do you mean?
I didn't want to cause drama, so I went about it as non-confrontationally as possible. I agree now I should have been more direct. Another concern a lot of you had was that I allowed this to happen to my daughter previously. That is not true. This is the first time he promised her one of his trips. That's why I decided to say something. Yeah, she couldn't read before. So this doesn't become a recurring thing. Here's the update. I tried to call my uncle twice, but he didn't answer. I got through to my aunt and explained everything to her, how many times he did this to my siblings and I, and how often we were disappointed. I told her my daughter was so excited and that if they were actually planning to take her on this trip, I would apologize. She didn't take that well. She told me I was creating unnecessary drama and that my daughter and I are acting entitled to expect them to drop everything to go on this trip. I was shocked and angry. I said, "How dare you say that?" She didn't imagine this trip in her mind and then expect you to take her. You promised her this trip. Her disappointment is not entitlement. I said it's not my job to make sure a grown man feels secure in himself, and it's a shame my family spent so long coddling him. I was so mad I just hung up. I don't feel any ounce of guilt for setting my boundary anymore. For everyone asking if I can take my daughter on the trip, unfortunately that theme park closes for the season this month. You're telling me he promised something that's not even possible?
Not even in the realm of human possibility.
What? Huh?
Maybe his plan was to break in.
Yeah, he was like, we're going to be the only people in this park. Just you and me and the moon.
He was going to pull a National Lampoon Family Vacation.
He was going to pull a movie starring National Treasure starring
Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage.
They were going to steal the Declaration of Independence so that they could keep the Declaration of Independence safe.
Exactly.
They could keep it independent.
But I surprised her with something even better. After the phone call with my aunt, my partner and I decided to book a trip to Disneyland. It sounds crazy and impulsive, but we've been wanting to plan this for a while now and decided it's the perfect time. My kid is entitled to an extravagant trip. Last night, we sat her down and explained that her uncle won't be able to take her on the trip. I tried to be as honest as possible without confusing her. She was unsurprisingly upset and had a lot of questions. By the way, I have a lot of questions about why you aren't listening to full episodes of stories just like this. Because you can find them on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio if you just search up OK Storytime.
Yeah. That's really just one question, but it's a big question.
It's a big question, and it feels like a kind of a Russian doll worth of questions, you know?
It deserves a big answer.
Why aren't you listening on iHeartRadio? Why aren't you listening on Spotify?
But
why aren't you listening on Apple Podcasts?
Those questions all get a little bit smaller every time. But we got a little bit left to this story.
Good recovery.
Good recovery. Very nice. Very nice. Would I ever take a 5-year-old to Disneyland? Probably not me personally.
Yes.
Well, yeah, you don't really have any 5-year-olds to
don't-
take to Disneyland.
Well, you don't. Not that you know of.
Hey, Sophia, I'm a 5-year-old.
No, you're not. You're a liar. Why would you lie to me? Why would you
I love
freaking
you,
lie to
Keon.
me? What?
I can't.
Take him to Disneyland?
No, I was gonna make a joke, and I was like,
Oh.
instead of doing that, I'll just say I love Keon.
Oh, that's just really nice.
What were you going to say?
I won't say it.
Anyway, I will say the little bit left of this story. After we answered them all, I told her not to worry because her mom and dad are taking her somewhere instead. When she found out it was Disney, she was once again over the moon. She spent all day deciding which Minnie Mouse stuffy she wants to take with her. That's
Aw.
really cute.
Aw.
I told her to tell her class her trip got upgraded. All things considered, it's a happy ending. I know I won't always be able to protect her from disappointment, but I sure as heck will do my best. She's getting that giant hotel room she was promised. Agent Lasagna.
Agent
And I'll do
Lasagna's
my
on the
best.
case.
Comment 1 says, that family dynamic is just wild. Why has everyone just accepted that Uncle exclusively gifts crushed dreams and disappointment to all the kids in the family?
That's his superhero name. I'm Uncle Exclusive.
I'm
that's
Uncle
how you-
Disappointment.
You keep the kids strong.
Yeah. How and why did it take so long for someone to push back? Opie says, I wish I had a good answer to this question. I have a theory, though. My uncle is the boy in the family, and my grandma has always treated him differently than she treats her daughters. You know, the typical self-proclaimed boy mom stuff. She thinks he's perfect. So I'm starting to believe everyone let him get away with this because they didn't want to upset my grandma. I'm sure she's pissed at me for hurting her son's feelings. And that's the end of the story.
My new management messed with our vacation and it ended up costing them $1 million.
Make it 2 million.
I worked at a company that gave our exorbitant amounts of vacation. Anyone who worked there for 25 plus years received 8 weeks of vacation and 2 weeks of personal time.
What?
Dang.
Damn.
This was a family-owned company, but rather large. We ran 3 shifts, totaling 250 plus people. By the way, this comes from Rustic Whiskey, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. And I'm Angie.
I'm Dakota.
I'm Riley.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers, so we're just gonna guess what we would do in this situation. Let us know what you would do in the comments.
Yeah.
So, Opie says, enter Jimmy. Jimmy was a grizzled old man who started at the company when he was just 20.
Oh, Jimbo. Good old Jimbo.
Now he is 63 and gave absolutely zero craps. Jimmy also knew how to make a specific part for our product, him and one other higher up in the office. One day, the plant owner came out and announced that he was selling to a corporation. He was older and ready to retire. He promised that there would be very little change and wished us all well. The new company came in and immediately went after many of the great benefits we had.
Of course they did.
We got really great benefits. The first thing they did was cut everyone's max vacation down to 4 weeks and completely did away with personal time. Anyone who was maxed out had until December 31st of that year to use it up, and they wouldn't pay it out. They then went into the office and cleaned house, firing anyone who was close to retirement, including Jimmy's backup. That's illegal?
I don't know.
I feel like that's ageism, yes?
Right, corporations are scum.
I guess you could fire him for like different reasons, but not smart.
Gotta fire him because it makes my bottom line say, ooh-wee. Ooh.
Sure.
Yummy, yummy.
Sure, I believe it. But they also did away with one very important rule. You no longer had to get vacation approved. You could just call in and take it. Jimmy was pissed, and they knew it. They realized he was the only one in the building who could do his job now. So they hired a new kid for him to train, most likely to permanently replace Jimmy. So Jimmy did what anyone would do. He called in on the first training day for the new hire and let us know that he was going to use all of his PTO at once. He promptly took 10 weeks off. We had a back stock of parts that he had made, so it wasn't too unnerving. But for 10 weeks, Jimmy went and applied to other jobs, found one, and started working there. Fast forward 10 weeks. It was the day Jimmy was supposed to return. He didn't. For 2 days, they tried calling him and even went to his house. He was nowhere to be found. Finally, on day 3, he called and resigned, and they lost their crap.
Dude.
Good on you, Jimmy.
Yeah,
Make 'em
honestly.
sweat, Jimmy.
Honestly. Yeah, because I'm thinking it's like, okay, well, the fact that he could do that is honestly pretty insane. And that does make me think that, like, maybe the, like, vacation process that they had set up was like not the best because someone could do that. But if it was like a family owned thing, even though it was like a bigger successful company, it's like if it's a family thing, it's probably like, oh no, we're hiring people that we trust and that we like, and
Yeah.
I want to give them this time off,
Jimmy did that for the people.
for the
For
people.
the people who were fired.
He made a stand. The parts he made were specialized and patented by the original founder. You couldn't just hire someone off the street to make them. What eventually happened was they had to contract the original owner to come in and teach some new hires how to make them. When he found out what they had done, it pissed him off. The last I heard, he charged them a 7-figure contract to teach them how to produce the parts, and they had to pony up or close down.
What?
Oh my gosh.
That's crazy.
And that's what you get for being a blood-sucking corporation.
That is so crazy.
Yeah.
Not all of them are like that.
Sure.
This one certainly was.
Yeah. Oh my God. Moral of the story, don't mess with people's vacation time. And there is an edit here. Jimmy made an electronic control module that was sealed and fixed in a poured unit made of a 2-part epoxy. Edit number 2, Jimmy didn't exactly miss out on a 7-figure contract and had 0 chance to take one. He left, said F him, and moved on. When they contacted the previous owner and explained the situation, it was basically a, you need my help? It'll cost $1 million type of conversation. Some of OP's comments, one commenter says, so they never tried to contact the backup and rehire him? OP said, honestly, I never asked, nor was I informed. He was like 65 and had also been there for 40 plus years, so I'm sure they did. Why he didn't come back, I'm not sure.
He didn't come back because he probably heard about all this stuff they did and said, nah, I'm not going to do that.
I mean, yeah, they fired him. That was...
You want me to work for the Legion of Evil? No.
Right.
Get out of here.
My guess is he was bitter and doing just fine in early retirement. Another commenter says, Jimmy is my spirit animal. You wish. OP says, our factory was next to another factory. In between them was a giant gravel lot owned by the city, and they let both factories use it for excess parking. One time, Jimmy was walking out of the building, and a coworker told him that their boss was coming to find him, or to let him know that he needed to clock back in and stay over to finish some work, which was about 2 to 3 hours. Jimmy hustled out to his truck and waited. When the boss walked up, Jimmy looked him in the face, pulled a 40 out of a cooler in the bed of his truck, and slammed it. Now, I didn't get to see this. I was just told about it. Rumor has it that they just stood and stared at each other for a minute before the boss shook his head and walked back in. Since he was in the gravel lot and not on company property, there wasn't anything that they could do. Jimmy was a hard butt. Another commenter says, I'm cool with not being taken advantage of, but Jimmy was being a wiener in this instance. Or worked at a place that he didn't like or respect and probably should have quit a long time ago.
Brother, did you even read the story, Nincompoopas?
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. The nincompoops didn't even read the story.
Head nincompoop at Nincompoop University.
I bet he doesn't even know how to read this nincompoop. Because after this, Jimmy shouldn't be driving himself home. Hey, if your company F's you around, I get it. But if they're halfway decent, you could return the favor. For the rest of us who want decent places to work, who don't hate the world every morning we wake up, OP responds, I have no idea if he drove. His wife worked across the street and his brother worked there with him, so I honestly couldn't say. He did leave his truck there at the end of the week a lot and ride with others to the bar or a river, so I couldn't tell you. I never saw him drink and drive, but that doesn't mean he didn't. On the other hand, I completely agree with how he handled it. He was already clocked out for the weekend and halfway to his truck when they decided to make him stay overtime. He could have said no, but he made a statement instead. The company was bad about alerting you to overtime. They'd come out while you were waiting in line at the time clock and pull you for a double. And this was before the takeover. Out of all the good reasons to work there, that was one of the few bad things. Another commenter says firing everyone at retirement age is majorly illegal in the US. Age discrimination. Opie says, well, here's the thing. I live in an at-will state. They can come in and fire you at any time and are required to give zero reasoning. They usually give you BS reasons though, such as we've eliminated this position or the company is going in a different direction. They never say you're too old to cover their own butt. Granted, you could take it to court, but you would probably lose. It's sad and unfair. In edits, I should have stated this earlier, but I didn't think it was relevant. They fired other people as well. Probably 10 to 15 people who had worked there for over like 10 years. But the thing is, they hired people to replace almost everyone that they fired who were of all ages. It was more to cut costs than to discriminate against age. People who had been there for multiple years had received raises. And we're talking dollars, not cents like most American companies. So they hired new people at the starting wage and saved a buck. Oh, I see. So they were giving some people that they kept raises and they didn't want to give everyone a raise.
They fired all the people who had earned raises by being good at their jobs and replaced them with people who were worse at their job.
Yeah.
So they could pay them less.
That's crazy.
Because
that's crazy.
It's all about that bottom line.
Oh my gosh.
They're looking for a fat bottom line.
About that money.
Exactly.
All about that money. Gotta get that money.
Bottom line.
Money.
Smack that bottom line.
I like that.
That's
I like
my
that.
man over there. That's my man over there. That's him.
Shoo-wee.
I guess a case could have still been made against him, though. Another commenter says, as an old guy who has been a tech exec at dozens of companies, including being brought in on takeovers, let me confirm that this is so real. Not as bad as entitled next generation owner, whelps who haven't a clue about running anything, and then go firing key people in a hissy fit, crippling the company. Both outsiders and next-gen owners have rarely a clue about the secret sauce that made the original owner so successful. Better than average vacation or share options make for far better employees. Alter that at your peril. Opie says, I agree 100%. This guy started this company in his basement in his late 50s and made it a $500 million company. Oh my God.
This guy has to be working in defense.
Yeah.
There's no way. This guy's got
Yeah.
government contracts.
We had great benefits, great employee/employer relations, and the lowest turnover rate I've ever seen. The new corporation made it one of the worst places to work in the area. I still have friends that work there, and they just tried and failed to unionize. That's a still developing story for another day, though. Apparently, they crossed some lines and possibly broke some laws. Maybe karma will strike again. And more on the part that Jimmy made. It was a control module that was handmade and had to be sealed to be dropped into a 2-part epoxy. They honestly probably could have reverse engineered it, but my guess is they were crunched for time. I know we had a lot of backed up orders in multiple departments. And we do have an update for over 4 years later.
Oh, yeah.
I hope they go under or they like get new, better management or something.
I just want to know what's up with Jimmy.
I hope Jimmy's
I
owning the place.
I hope we're checking in with Jimmy.
Yeah, if he's still willing to work, I hope he's owning the place now.
He owns his own place now.
He
started
yeah.
a different place. He owns
There you
that
go.
place.
There you
He
go.
went to the new place, owns that place.
All right, update. 4 years later, over 4 years later, Jimmy is still around.
Yeah!
I see him from time to time, especially at the local watering hole.
Yo! Yeah!
What?
Classic Jimmy.
He's still and is still his old self. The company we worked for had a major restructuring about 2 years ago, and things have gotten better there, so Jimmy went back. I myself have moved on to bigger and better things, but after constant contact from their new HR and talent recruitment program asking me to come back, I've decided to at least have a sit down with them. I showed Jimmy this post one night, and his reaction was comical in itself. He said, those F-tards didn't know who they were messing with. They sure as heck know now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, man.
That's Jimmy.
You tell him, Jimmy.
Take in mind, he was probably 2 buckets in at this point. And you could be 2 buckets in listening to full episodes of stories just like this one on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, or whatever your favorite podcast app is. Just search OK Storytime. You'll be there, 2 buckets in with Jimmy.
2 buckets with Jimmy.
And there is a little bit more to the story, but do you have any final thoughts, either of you, before we go on?
Go Jimbo.
Go Jimbo!
Go Jimbo!
Let's go Jimbo.
At the time of his re-employment, they were shaking things up due to a scare that the employees had brought a union in and were gearing up to vote on the matter. Part of his stipulations for going back were the reinstatement of all the benefits he'd lost and the dealing with 2 of the problem higher-ups, an issue that had been brought up by several other employees at the time. 2 weeks after he started back, both were walked out of the building and told not to return. That's right.
That's right. Jimbo said you gotta go.
On your butts.
Jimbo's here now. Jimbo's running the ship.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta go, sonny.
I can imagine the smile on his face as he waved goodbye to both of them. I'll be working by his side in the near future if things go well. Maybe I'll even ask for more vacation time. And that's the end of that story. That was a good one.